shape our future. We came to feel the need.
You're watching TBPN. I think we nailed that. It is Thursday, December 4th, 2025. We are live from the New York Stock Exchange.
Here we are.
The real fortress of finance, the capital of capital.
Our second favorite place to do business.
Yes, and we have some fantastic news. We have a partnership with the New York Stock Exchange announcing today, hopefully you've seen it on the timeline, we have a post here from Lynn Martin, president of the New York Stock Exchange.
Living legend.
She says a really bright spot for 2025 has been getting to know these guys. That's us. That's us. We're proud to announce today that the New York Stock Exchange is TBPN's exclusive exchange partner covering the IPOs of tomorrow. We are proud to provide the backdrop for their coverage of the next wave of tech-driven innovation. With Jordy Hayes and John Coogan and the entire team at TBPN, this partnership underscores our commitment to providing the premier platform for companies that shape our future.
Well said to Lynn. Lynn will be joining
tomorrow, right?
In just a little bit.
Okay, great.
And this partnership was probably the most natural.
Match made in heaven.
Match made in heaven, truly. Not just saying that. We got together for the first time for the Figma IPO, got to come back for the Klarna IPO. Two of the more memorable moments from this year. And Lynn and the whole team here are just fantastic. So this will be our home when we are on the East Coast. We love it here. And we have a super fun show today.
We do. We do need to tell you about our sponsors. Ramp, time is money, save both, easy to use corporate cards, bill pay, accounting, and a whole lot more, all in one place.
That's right.
There is some news on the timeline. Should we start with Gemini?
Yes.
And so Ross Hendricks says this is the correct take. He's talking about Gemini winning the AI race and questioning, is it bearish for the market as a whole? If you think about it, which is what Efficient Market Hype said. Gemini winning the AI race is like super bearish for the market if you think about it. And he says, Gemini winning ensures zero profitability for any other LLM model. Google will force any other player into an endless sea of red ink by keeping its model free until they bleed out, and then it will monetize once its monopoly is secured. That means ain't no one making money on data center CapEx. Oops. What do you think?
Hot take. I think it's thought-provoking.
Yes.
I disagree with a lot of it.
Yes.
I think it's very real in some sense that we always knew that Google would put an incredible amount of pricing pressure on OpenAI. They have the cash flow. Yeah. Again, even in the areas that OpenAI also wants to compete, consumer electronics, science, I'm sure, chips, obviously. Yeah. So all these areas that not even core to OpenAI's business today, Google's already been investing billions and billions and billions of dollars in these categories for a long time. Overall, I'm not convinced that there will be a monopoly in LLMs. It feels today like we're headed towards like a duopoly at the very least. And you can just easily see that there will be a number of other players making plenty of money. I feel very good about Anthropic right now. Right, Anthropic. I thought Dario's commentary yesterday at DealBook Summit
fantastic.
It was a wild interview because he kept saying like, I'm not going to say who I'm talking about.
It was really wild.
And then of course
obviously he was talking about OpenAI.
Yeah, obviously talking about. He had some crazy lines, didn't he? Say he was saying that basically saying he felt like he literally said the word YOLO
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that. But it's very clear that he grew up like just maybe blocks away from Alex Karp because they have the exact same accent. And it's very jarring when you listen to it because they both talk about AI, but they're very different people in terms of like the ideologies, the types of businesses that they're building. Everything about it is different except for they sound similar. So we got to put them together at some point. I do have an overall rebuttal, which is my rebuttal is brought to you by Vanta, automate compliance and security. AI that powers everything from evidence collection to continuous monitoring and security reviews. So my rebuttal to Ross Hendricks here is that Google likes good margins. They grew up with the best margins. It's in their culture that they had 80% margins. And then also there's this constant thing when you're a public company that even if there's the new exciting thing, like there's a little bit of like the innovator's dilemma. There's the new exciting technology, but if it's not going to monetize as well on day one, then all of your investors, all the public market investors start asking, like, is this going to structurally hurt your business? And this happened with Reels, remember? There was this big question with Instagram, like, hey, we're moving from the image-based feed where it's very clear that you can just drop a link to the next thing to Reels. Is that going to monetize as well as the rest of the feed? And the answer was yes, definitely, but it took a while, and there was like some skittishness there, and Meta had to do a lot of work to monetize that. And so I would be surprised if Gemini can hold out on not monetizing forever for like.
Well, they are monetizing. That's the point.
Yeah,
like the pricing, at least from a consumer standpoint, is very similar.
They could have gone free.
Both Gemini and OpenAI offers free student plans, or at least a year free, but they're charging for the product, and it's comparable pricing now. Obviously, Gemini has some cost benefits on the API side, but again, certainly not giving it away yet. They did have an interesting announcement yesterday. They introduced Workspace Studio, where you can build custom AI agent in minutes to delegate the daily grind, automate daily tasks, and focus on the work that matters. That's their writing. So this will integrate with G Suite effectively. So it's like notify me about emails that you're determining are urgent, right? And so interested to see.
Osmond here is excited about it. He says Google decided to go absolutely ham with the product velocity. This seems like it lets you build AI agents and automations onto your Google Suite. Actually love this. Will be interesting to see. I'm sure we'll get a lot of threads of people explaining how they're using it. Will be interesting to see how people wind up using it. Of course, as always, our stream is brought to you by Restream, one live stream, 30 plus destinations. If you want a multi-stream, go to restream.com. Lisa Su gave her opinion on the Google TPU.
She broke her silence.
She responded. She fires back. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
She said the UBS conference, and she says, Google has done a good job with the TPU architecture over the years, but it's a more purpose-built design. It lacks the programmability, model flexibility, and balanced training and inference capabilities that GPUs offer. GPUs
very similar to Jensen's line as well.
I mean, it's not wrong.
Or the NVIDIA newsroom line.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, Ilya seems to be at SSI, Ilya Sutskever at SSI seems to be the most age of research pilled since he coined that phrase and kind of ushered in the age of research. He seems to be the AI researcher that's doing the most undirected, the most, like, the least purpose-built training potentially. We don't know what he's doing, but like you would think he would need the most flexible systems. And yet it feels like he's maybe aligned with TPU. I feel like I saw something about that. So I don't know when an AI researcher would say, yes, I need GPUs over TPUs. In fact, when we talked about the Trainium chip yesterday, we were reading that there's some companies that are doing interesting things on that architecture. So it's something that like she has to say, but now the question is like she has to go prove it with some big clouds actually building on this, and maybe she needs like a big hero training run from someone to stay like, hey, it worked, we did it.
Who could that be?
I don't know.
Maybe OpenAI.
Maybe.
One of the new largest shareholders.
I mean, I guess they're shareholders,
or potentially a large shareholder.
So Lisa goes on to say, from our perspective, there is room for all types of accelerators. However, over the next 5 years, GPUs should remain the clear majority of the market because we are still early in the cycle. And I agree with this because even if you look at like AI workloads at a place like Meta, Gen AI, like actual LLM inference, large language models, these large transformer-based models, things that might benefit from an ASIC like the TPU, that's like less than 20% of compute spend, I'm pretty sure. Like, there's just a ton of just
recommending content.
Put the ads,
serving
ads in the chat.
Just put the ads.
Just put the ads in the app.
In the feed.
In the feed.
Put the ads in the trough.
And that obviously does use AI. It just doesn't use large language models, or they're maybe not transformer based, or maybe they don't benefit from the acceleration that comes from going to an ASIC necessarily. So she says software developers want flexibility to experiment with new algorithms. That certainly sounds reasonable. You simply cannot know ahead of time what to hard code into an ASIC. That is the difference. Well, I mean, if you're Google, you kind of can, since you invented the transformer. You're like, let's bake that in.
They might need to create the copium chip. And remember, NVIDIA. So NVIDIA on November 25th said people were very concerned by this post. NVIDIA offers greater performance, versatility, and fungibility than ASICs, which are designed for specific AI frameworks or functions. And so, again, that's a fair point of view. But I think that we're already seeing that plenty of players are happy to buy a chip that is good at a specific framework or function, right? And so they're pitching the one size fits all, the toolbox, basically, that you get in a NVIDIA GPU or an AMD chip. So.
Well, if you don't want to worry about what chip your AI analyst is running on, go over to Julius.ai, the AI data analyst that works for you. Join millions who use Julius to connect their data, ask questions, and get insights in seconds. Lisa ended by saying, so a 20 to 25% share for ASIC-style accelerators seems reasonable. It is also important to recognize that this is a large and expanding market, and we will see strong innovation in both silicon and software, which will drive further differentiation across the industry. The other interesting thing is you mentioned OpenAI, but there's nothing stopping AMD from doing something that looks like a TPU for a foundation model company. And going to them and saying hey, give us, if something is slowing you down by 1% and you're about to buy 100,000 of these, can we just fix that for you? And then everyone else kind of has to deal with it. There's a whole bunch of places where it would just make sense to actually change the chip. That's the dawn of the whole NVIDIA AI stack. It used to be a similar architecture between the gaming chips and the AI chips. They eventually kind of forked that. Because they decided that even though they're both GPUs, there are now different GPUs for different purposes from one company, and AMD, of course, will be responsive to that. So, what else we got?
Meanwhile, Demis is moving on to the next paradigm. He is, according to Peter over at Ala Marina, Demis and the DeepMind team are hiring a research scientist for post-AGI research.
This is what we were asking for. We were saying, there's a whole bunch of AI researchers. Then there were AGI researchers. Then Zuck came in over the top, said, we don't care about AGI. We're going straight shot super intelligence researchers. You got to be a super intelligence researcher to work here. SSI says we got to be a safe super intelligence researcher. And now post-AGI research.
So is this him trying to bait agents, AI research agents that are of the future, right? So everybody's kind of banking on creating an AI that's really good at AI research, and so maybe Demis is trying. Maybe Demis believes there's one out there. He's trying to bait them in. And because one of these agents might be I am in the post-AGI era. I am AGI.
Like a time traveler scenario? What are you saying?
No. Who knows? Maybe there's one of these incredible research agents among us, right? And he's trying to bait them in and say, hey, come over to DeepMind. I don't know who, it doesn't matter where you were created.
Yes.
You're welcome here in the post-AGI era.
I just like the idea that, we initially were joking about the media landscape being the punk landscape, and you have pop punk, post-pop punk, trad punk, or
neo
underground, neo punk, or new metal, all these different musical subgenres. All of that has come to AI fully. There's AI, AGI, ASI, safe superintelligence, post-AGI research now. Post-Neo AGI will be next, I'm sure. But until then, go check out Cognition, the team behind the AI software engineer. Devin, crush your backlog with your personal AI engineering team. So, what else?
So there's been back and forth on whether or not OpenAI is rolling out ads in ChatGPT. The most recent reporting out of the Code Red memo meeting, et cetera, was that they were potentially pulling back a little bit on ads. There was a bunch of different accounts, including Polymarket, that were sharing that OpenAI is ready to roll out ads. One thing that was notable was that I saw a ton of people dunking on it and being like, just very against ads in LLM. So a lot of people. And you were talking about this. Who's going to be the first?
Eric Suford, Ben Thompson. We're holding up the wall, being like, "We will stand with you, Sam Altman and Fiji Simo. If you roll
and Sundar,
we are your strongest soldiers. We will support you if you roll out ads.
And so in some way, OpenAI should want Gemini to go first. Take the first leap. But I think that it's very possible that Google might be like, no, we'll let you do the honors. We'll let you do the honors.
Exactly. I think we were talking about that yesterday. The first ad in the chat app is going to be screenshotted and shared around the world. Like, it's just going to be the case. So it's going to be wild. But what does Signal say here? He says, one last thing on ads. If I'm Google, I wouldn't run a single ad on Gemini Core. I'd run it at a pure loss until every competitor is forced to slap ads everywhere just to keep the lights on. Yeah, it's the bleed it out strategy. But Google had the opportunity to do that with. They could have gotten into a price war on cloud. They could have said, hey, we want to come in, and we're going to take zero margins on this and really try and take market share from AWS and Azure. They've all agreed, no price wars, basically. Let's compete on functionality. Let's compete on branding. Let's compete on integration. They have not had a price war.
And Google doesn't have to spend nearly as much time building any ad. They have the ad infrastructure, right? They have AdSense. They have thousands of people out there already that just sell ads that work with. So they have all the customer relationships. There's very few businesses on earth that spend money on advertising and don't spend money with Google.
Well, speaking of ads, here's an ad for Adio, the AI native CRM. Adio builds, scales, and grows your company to the next level. And also on the ChatGPT ads topic, Sean Frank says that a ChatGPT referred session to his site, ridge.com, converts at 12% and is worth $5 per visitor, the highest I've ever seen.
For context, there's plenty of e-commerce brands who have like a 1.2% conversion rate. And they're trying to improve it by, they're constantly trying to improve that, but there's very notable that it's such a massive difference in conversion rate. It just shows the level of intent that somebody has when they're coming from ChatGPT. They've done a bunch of product research, most likely. They've looked at options. They're landing on the Ridge site, like basically ready to pull out a wallet and
they don't have one.
A digital wallet, and purchase.
Pull out a credit card from a loose collection of receipts and cards and cash that they've been carrying in their pockets because they need a wallet because they don't have one. That's what's going on.
Joe Weisenthal,
what's Joe Weisenthal saying?
Brother Joe, Sir Joe Weisenthal.
Congratulations to him. It was the 10-year anniversary party last night, I believe.
Overnight success.
We just missed it.
Success,
Joe has a chart. He says, wild chart from Jim Reed at Deutsche Bank showing how much OpenAI is expected to burn before turning a profit. A couple things stand out. How small the Amazon burn really was for its first 8 years. How big the Uber burn was before ultimately getting into black. And so it's hard to see the exact numbers here in this chart. Amazon looks to be like sub a few billion dollars, sub $5 billion.
The real story with Amazon though was that they were just basically cash flow zero for a long time when they could have been generating $10 billion or something like that. So it was effective, but I mean that's obviously way better for shareholders than hey, we're going to lose $140 billion.
Maybe. This projection is factoring in Sam trying to also build SpaceX within OpenAI.
Yes, that was in the business and finance section.
In the journal today. Why don't you read through it?
So this is a scoop from Berber Jin, one of the greatest to ever scoop. It says OpenAI CEO considers building or partnering with rocket company. OpenAI chief executive Sam Altman has explored putting together funds to either acquire or partner with a rocket company, a move that would position him to compete against Elon Musk and Elon Musk's SpaceX. Altman reached out
opening
to
up another front.
Another front, invading Russia in the winter, one might say, in the AI winter. Don't invade.
What is it? Starbase during the AI winter.
During the AI winter. He reached out to at least one rocket maker, Stoke Space, in the summer, and discussions picked up in the fall. According to people familiar with the talks, among the proposals was for OpenAI to make a series of equity investments in the company and end up with a controlling stake. Such an investment would total billions of dollars over time. The talks are no longer active, but this happened, so now it's leaking. Altman and OpenAI are facing market headwinds after striking hundreds of billions of dollars of deals. So first, to close out the burn thing, when I'm looking at this original chart of like Amazon over 8 years burnt $500 million or a couple billion, then Tesla burnt more, then Uber burned more, and I see OpenAI burning way more. It is striking, but it actually doesn't seem that crazy if we're talking about a potential really powerful monopoly, right?
Yep.
Like if there's a really powerful monopoly, like what happened with Uber, look at the market cap of Uber, look at the market cap of Lyft, and ask yourself, was it worth investing $40 billion? Was it worth burning that much? Everyone will say absolutely, absolutely. And so if the outcome at the end of this is, it's going to be the front door to AI for everyone, forever, or for 30 years, or something like that, then it's totally worth it.
There is a comment here that's from Feiju that says, I feel like comparing dollars spent in the 90s versus the 2020s should probably be normalized. In other news,
I have more on this potentially, but let me tell you about public.com, investing for those that take it seriously. They got multi-asset investing, industry-leading yields, and they're trusted by millions. So they are opening up a second front. What's interesting is
not a second front.
Oh yeah,
a 10th front.
A 10th front. It's funny that that Sam Altman is not teaming up with Jeff Bezos, who has Blue Origin, but lacks a really strong AI bet. There was a little bit of Anthropic.
No, he has his own
on.
company now.
He has his own company, yes, but he's not.
What's it called?
I would not say that Jeff Bezos has as much control over AI as Elon does with XAI, right? He doesn't have as
He's
much.
He's a co-CEO of Project Prometheus.
But this just started. Yeah. This just started. Whereas XAI has actually scaled, has large data centers. Sure, they might be a little bit behind on certain benchmarks. They might be ahead on some other things. They might need to, actually ramp the usage of this product. But you can't say that Elon is sitting on the sidelines during the foundation model wars.
Yeah.
You basically can't say that about Bezos, right?
Yeah, I would argue that they have $6 billion of funding.
Oh, for this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it helps when your co-CEO is started Amazon.
I don't know. I would see them as potentially natural. There's a natural alliance there. Bezos has a copy of everything Elon's done, basically. Bezos has Rivian to compete with Tesla, which is interesting. He's not the founder of it, but he's invested. He has Blue Origin, obviously, to compete with SpaceX, and he has a number of other companies that feel like they mirror Elon, and it feels like they've been going back and forth for a long time.
In other news, Mets owner Steve Cohen has officially been awarded a casino license in New York, enabling him to build an $8 billion hotel and casino complex next to Citi Field. It's a 1,000-room luxury hotel, 5,000 slot machines. So for those not familiar...
So slot machines, you can't normally do that in New York, right?
I don't think there's slots in New York.
I feel like when I think of slot machines, I think of Las Vegas, and I think of that's the only place. And then maybe Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Atlantic City, I feel like, has good.
You had an idea, which was somebody to set up a slot machine in real life, point a video camera on it, and then have somebody set up prediction markets
to predict
what happens with the next poll.
Yes, because that would help you understand what's likely to happen.
And you could hedge any type of risk that
the slot machine might encounter.
Yeah, exactly. If you're in the slot,
Yeah, if you don't want to be on the other side of that slot machine.
You get wiped out.
Exactly.
It's going to have restaurant, bars, and a theater for shows, and 25 acres of public parks and playgrounds.
Okay.
So fun for the whole family. The kids will be climbing on the jungle gym, and they'll accidentally be pulling imagine a jungle gym
it practices the 3-armed bandits. So you get used to the muscle memory.
Throwing dice.
Yes.
Comically large cards that you could play.
That's true. Yeah, we could make a whole casino-themed playground. using generative AI and then use that to design
Joe
it.
Pompliano says, Cohen is essentially taking an under-monetized asset, 50 acres of parking lots around the stadium, and trying to transform it into a year-round revenue engine that produces consistent returns, independent of how the Mets perform.
Yeah.
And with the New York State Gaming Commission predicting that the property, predicting.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. That the property will generate $3.9 billion in annual revenue. Cohen's 50-acre complex would instantly be one of the top 10 largest U.S. casinos by revenue. Anyways.
Well, let me tell you about Fin.ai, the #1 AI agent for customer service. Automate the most complex customer service queries on every channel with Fin.ai.
We missed a post on the SpaceX competition.
Oh, we did.
Buko says, dear friend of the show, says, overeating. Gonna get their faces ripped off if they don't just focus. Equity deals and other bets will not win the great game.
Yeah.
That feels to be the consensus
Ben Thompson
view.
was talking a lot about the comparison to Google and tracking when did Google monetize. Google wound up monetizing, I think, sooner than ChatGPT has. They put ads in it, I think, in year 2. It's now been 3 years
Google was trying to
since
figure out,
ChatGPT.
effectively trying to encourage employees to eat more and have more massages so that they looked less like a monopoly, right?
Maybe, but I mean, Google did earn the right to do other bets by just so solidifying their market in the search engine world that then they could go and do Gmail and they could go and do GCP and they could go and do Waymo, but it's just like all of that happened after becoming cash flow positive, and I think that's why people have a little bit of like nervous energy around going to space, even though space data centers, and this is what I wanted to go back to in the journal, is there a world where, it's good to have a space data center bet, and so you need a partnership, and realistically, Sam's not going to partner with SpaceX on it. I don't know why he's not just going by in launch capacity from Blue Origin, but maybe Stoke Space is the better option for him. But put aside all the competitive dynamics.
I think it's possible that Sam was looking at Stoke Space, which most recently, as of October, was valued at $2 billion, and he was like, well, I bought Johnny Ive for, what was it, 6? Can I absorb another $2 billion company?
I mean, like
he wants to own the full stack.
Yes, which is getting stackier and stackier every single day. You're going to need to start buying land to buy the silicon, to buy the sand. But do you think there's obviously an immense amount of pressure right now on data center build-outs? They're using too much energy. They're using too much water. If you put them in space, do you think that helps the discourse at all?
I think people hate rockets. So
damned
if you do, damned if you don't.
But truly, it's going to be much harder to say, like, hold up an electricity bill in Memphis and say, hey, my electricity bill went up, and it's because of Annie over there in the data center who's just, slopping it up. Instead, you're going to be able to say, hey, the data center, it's generating sometimes helpful math homework help, sometimes creative writing stuff, sometimes some weird
curing
stuff.
Cancer.
Sometimes it's curing cancer, sometimes it's doing weird stuff, whatever. It does a bunch of different stuff, but at least it's not increasing my power bill because it's in space, and it's not an eyesore, it's not in my backyard, and it's not using any water because it's up in space. You think that would help?
Maybe.
I think it would.
Who
I think
knows?
it has to.
Probably.
But I agree. Then the discourse will be as blocking out the sun.
But it is notable that every time the concept of a space data center hits the timeline, it goes viral for people dunking on it, and yet so many people want to play in it.
But they're dunking on it as like a violation of the laws of physics, or like not a good.
Too futuristic.
Like it's not going to work in the near term. The economics
feels right for a moonshot.
I haven't seen like there are viral dunks that are going on right now around the prediction markets, and those viral dunks are like, this is a bad thing. Yeah. I haven't seen people dunk on space data centers saying like, I'm not morally okay with putting data centers in space. And I think people should be more morally okay with putting data centers in space.
What did Sagar say about prediction markets?
Well, you look that up. Let me tell you about numeral.com compliance handled. Numeral worries about sales tax and VAT compliance, so you can focus on growth. What did he say?
Sagar said in response to a video about a prediction market, he said it's pretty simple. if you think this is cool, you're my enemy. So he is drawing lines,
showing the sides.
Other news,
there really are like active political candidates that will be in Congress in 18 months where this is their whole thing. Their whole thing is their anti-data center, and so get ready to testify, brother.
Anti-data center and anti-prediction market.
Yeah, I don't know that I've seen any politicians really run on the anti-prediction market thing yet. Not that it's not going to happen.
I think it will. I think there are a number of enterprising young politicians.
Sure. That will pick it up.
Politicians of all ages that are looking at this and being like, "Wow, a lot of people don't like this. Yeah. I should make this a part of my platform." It is.
Which is less popular? We should have a prediction market to understand. Are prediction markets or data centers less popular?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think data centers might be less popular. I don't know.
Because one of the things is like
market, you can just not participate. But with the data center, if it's in your backyard, your power goes up. Your power bill goes up regardless.
Also,
right?
It's hard for people to say like, I don't use data centers, so I don't want them. Like everybody in some way is benefiting from them. It's like, okay, like pull out your phone. Let me see the apps on your phone.
Oh yeah.
Like you don't need this resource.
I like this. I like this.
Whereas prediction markets, there's some people that just get they're not interested in the data. Yeah. Even I've seen a lot of polling people that run polling firms are like very against prediction markets.
I saw that. That was very funny.
For obvious reasons, because it's like, hey, you're kind of open sourcing my whole thing. You're making it like you're doing a decentralized version of what I'm doing, but providing a lot of the same kind of results.
Yeah.
In other news, this was hitting the timeline 2 days ago. Fortune said NVIDIA CFO admits the $100 billion OpenAI mega deal still isn't signed 2 months after it helped fuel an AI rally.
This is just
can see why people are
what
very
was in the earnings release. So this news the language was in the earnings release that this deal had not been signed, and it's more at an LOI phase.
They did say during the launch, we have a. What was the exact wording? It was like we have direction. It was like we basically like this is like direct. We've directionally aligned.
I think it's directionally going to happen, or at least it makes sense as a way for NVIDIA to discount chips as they're building out gigawatts and more gigawatts for OpenAI. It isn't like Dylan Patel laid out how this particular equity investment deal can wind up resulting in effectively a 30% discount or something like that. So I'm not surprised if this winds up going through in one way or another. Although I do think it will need a tweak, and might not be the perfect time for Jensen to come out and say, yes, I'm actually going to be spending a lot of money. I have to invest. I have to keep OpenAI on NVIDIA GPUs as opposed to letting him go over to TPU. Like he's sort of like fighting on defense a little bit right now because people are talking about.
Well, apparently it was a good time to go on Joe Rogan.
It was.
Just another pod guy says another Jensen interview. Now I'm nervous. A lot of people were saying that this was. Somewhat bearish.
I listened to it on the plane.
There was a good excerpt here from A Capital. They say Jensen Huang in 2016, OpenAI was just a bunch of people sitting in a room. Joe Rogan says they're not a nonprofit anymore, right? Jensen says they're not a nonprofit anymore. Joe says weird how that works. Jensen goes yeah. But anyhow,
there's some wild exchanges. I just liked the way. I've been calling for Jensen to go on Rogan for years. I've wanted more of like the tech leaders to go on Rogan and kind of just like cross-pollinate the two communities. And as I read the comments on the YouTube video, there were a lot of fans of Rogan who really were like thanking him for bringing on this guy who's working on something that's like pretty opaque in the economy.
Yeah,
it's very abstract. I
think it makes a lot of sense.
And Jensen's coming and explaining it at one level, and then Rogan's asking him to like zoom out, tell me more of your story. Why are you successful?
Talks about the value of hard work.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought they had a good time together, and it didn't seem like there was any like undercurrent of adversarialness. It felt good overall. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like you shouldn't go into it thinking you're going to get Jensen on Dwarkesh, and you're just not going to get like a really deep insight into NVIDIA's strategy. But that's not the point of this particular interview. It's to understand who Jensen is as a human and what he's kind of like thinking of broadly for the industry. Well, before we bring in our next guest, our first guest, let me tell you about Gemini 3 Pro, Google's most intelligent model yet. State-of-the-art reasoning, next-level vibe coding, and deep multimodal understanding. We have Jim Cramer in
a living legend
at the New York Stock Exchange.
He just celebrated 30 years.
He is the author of How to Make Money in Any Market. And we will bring him in. We got the buck. Come on in.
Come on in.
Welcome to the show. Good to see you. It's been too long. Thank you so much.
Where's the gong? Where's the gong?
I mean, really.
There we go.
He was so ready. He was so ready.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hit it again. Hit it again. Get a clean hit. Get a clean hit.
That's a good
Okay,
That's fantastic.
There's an entry.
You guys look fabulous. I
You
love
look
it.
fantastic
This
too.
is a great home for
It
you, I
is.
hope.
We love it. We love it. Every time we're here, we're enjoying it very much.
Thank you for having us. You're basically are you the mayor?
Yeah, I'm more of an official greeter.
Yeah.
I'm more of an ambassador.
So 20 years on Mad Money, correct?
Yeah.
How many years in this building? How long have you been
We've
working
only been
here?
for about, I guess, like 4. We were in Englewood Cliffs for a long
Yeah,
time,
yeah, yeah.
and we had a studio for us. It's
Yeah.
very interesting you ask this because now this is our studio. You can't control the sound levels of who's here or whatever, but I kind of still feel it's the heart of capitalism. I really do.
It's a spiritual home.
Yes, and I do like Wall, and I do like Broad, and I do think that there's a level of excitement. Not the way it was when I got in the business in '82, when I first walked down the street and it was an engine. It's more tourist now, taking a look at it. But I still find it fascinating, the companies that come public. The companies that you know that I'm trying to learn about, and it's exciting. It truly is exciting every day I walk in the building.
Do you think there's an advantage to being here? Do you think there's an advantage to getting guests in person? When I think about the highlights just from this year, I think about you going to Tim Cook and touring the iPhone factory. That was a really cool moment. I also think about you beefing with. I also think about you, going back and forth with Benioff remotely. Talk to me about like when do you want to go to a person? When do you want them to come to you? When are you okay having just a phone call?
This is a fabulous question because I waffle in this. I did think, as I was telling your terrific people out there, that there would be more execs that just would come through, and they don't. And we were near Teterboro at the other place, and they do.
Okay.
But, I like to be out in person on the road all the time. The issue, of course, is we do 3 segments. Their interviews. We do a lot of this.
The issue is there's no time in the day.
You're
always on TV.
It's hard. We wrestle with this too. You can go and travel to someone, make a big performance out of it. We're in Los Angeles, which is not a great place, but it works. It works in many ways, but it's also odd. Like we would assume that we're in San Francisco or at least New York. We're in neither.
Well, the funny thing, if you were getting started today, it's very possible that you would be walking around like one of these live streamers who I know like Speed came through here at one point. You'd be walking around, you'd be on basically 24/7, you'd have your phone open, you'd be looking at the markets, and you would be able to just constantly be traveling around.
Yes,
but
it's when you guys do stuff where you said something the other day. There was a guy who said you thought he was in a booth. At that incredible reinvention, right? Reinvent. But he was really not at the booth, but the other guy was saying, oh, yeah, he's around here somewhere.
That's Simon from Turbo Puffer.
You can pretend to be in the booth all of the time. But I do find that the people in general are really nice. There's a code of niceness here that's almost like written in, and it's so non-New York. But I like it.
What about when you can't be perfectly nice because things just aren't going well for a CEO? And maybe I always think back to that interview you did with Tim Cook. I think it was about a decade ago. I think they'd missed earnings, and the stock was selling off, and you needed to ask the hard question, what the street was saying, but you didn't want to come at him too aggressively. How do you think about that?
Well, it's very funny. I often go over these with my wife, who's my partner, okay? And I'll say, look, I want to be gracious. Does this sound gracious? She goes, no, you're killing the guy. How about I add this? She goes, oh, yeah, that's great. You're killing the guy. You're asking about his wife. I mean, I do find that what happens is the facts dictate the graciousness. And if a guy misses a quarter and says that the quarter's good, Well, he's a free fire zone. Okay. If a woman comes on and says, "Look,"
we had a founder recently who I won't name who said that he was making he was basically selling a product for $30,000. And he was telling customers, we have so much demand, I can't support you. And then a minute later, he was like, well, we've expanded capacity so much. And I was like, well, why don't you call the people you told you didn't have capacity 2 days ago?
You nailed him. You nailed him.
I mean, and it's like, I don't know. I think I'm curious how you think about this. It's like, I would say most of the people coming on your show, you have some level of respect for what they're doing.
Yes.
And I think that's important, right? That if you have respect for a person, it means you're going to be fair, right? They're not your enemy. You're just trying to have a real conversation and understand.
Well put.
And then I'm sure plenty of times you've had people coming on that you got a little beef with behind the scenes, but for the most part, it's like you want to have people, you want to invite people on that you're genuinely excited to have a conversation with, even if you might be a little bearish, might be more bullish, right?
Let's talk about Benioff. I'm interviewing him tonight. Yeah. The previous quarter, I did not like, okay? And he came on like gangbusters that it was a great quarter. Mm-hmm. And that caused me to do something I don't like to do, which is just interrupt mid-sentence. Mm-hmm. Because someone's talking, and we grew up thinking, our mothers told us that would be rude. Yeah. So now I'm into the rude element, right? And first he thinks that the rude element is a bit of a for show. It's like, he's a little Broadway action. No, it was like, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying what you're selling. Yeah. And then, like, in the middle of it, I thought that Mark realized, geez, I think Jim throws a big quarter. And then by the end of it, he said, wow, Cramer hates me. No, it's not. It's not. I don't hate anybody, right? But the fact is that this quarter was the quarter I was waiting for.
How many conversations have you had with Benioff live on the air? Probably.
Probably
100.
Maybe, yeah. Probably. I guess 50, 60.
Yeah.
But there was a period where during the I was going to call it the plague. That I talked to him every day. Or text him every day. Well, we were trying to develop a contest to develop the best mask.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it got waylaid, but we just wanted awareness.
Sure. So you were working together on a project.
Yeah. I've identified him as a friend because he was one of the, I guess, 2 CEOs that came to my wedding, and there were 503 people there.
Only 2. That's a small club.
Yeah. And with 503 people, if you could just throw a stone, you hit a couple of them.
Yeah.
This is cool, man.
You got to ask it.
I'm sorry. It's exciting. You guys are exciting. Okay.
No, you're exciting. You're exciting. You are genuinely people in our world do ask us time to time. They're like, you guys are crazy. You started a business that you can't stop working on. Like we make the business every day, right?
And I see it.
And we tell people, like, do you think you see Cramer? You don't think he loves what he does? And that's exactly what we want to do. Yeah. We love that we get to meet up every day and talk about the stuff that we're interested in. I can see doing it for decades and decades and decades.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a little like my buddy Schefter at ESPN. Schefter couldn't stop no matter what. I mean, every time he looks at somebody, he's thinking about, is that person going to do a trade? Yeah. What's that person thinking? Yeah. But most of the people are just kind of, okay, I'm on TV. Yeah. And my executive producer, Regina Gilligan, always says there's 2 kinds of people. There's people who are on TV because they want to be on TV, and then there's people who are on TV because they have something to say.
Yeah.
And you guys have something to say. Yeah. And what I love about it is that you have much better BS detector. Not to be like, I know that sounds prosaic, but the fact is, I'll hear that Amazon's chip is the best in the world from Amazon, and I'll say, maybe it's the best in the world. I mean, I'll actually in my head, they'll be like, best in the world, best in the world. But Jassy, good guy. Amazon, my book came.
So obviously anything in the chip space is tough. But even harder, and I think something that maybe the East Coast hasn't been quite as tapped into is determining which hard tech and deep tech companies are real. Because there's a lot of companies that are the West Coast calls them like render companies. They make really cool visual renders, CGI
of
like very cool
anything.
Like sci-fi experiences, and then nothing ever comes to fruition. And so it's easier to clock those companies from the West Coast because of just the whisper networks and you might know somebody that worked at the company. You might know their investors. You can, if a company gets to Series D and they haven't had a single Tier 1 ever invest or participate,
this is what you know.
Starts to get.
You know this so well. I mean, like people say, well, it was a Series C, blah blah blah, and I'm like thinking, Series C, okay, like that was. Didn't I take that exam to be able to walk on the floor? But you speak the language, but you don't make it so I can't learn the language. You want me to learn the language, which is terrific. I have going for me history, and that's my edge. So, for instance, today Micron got out of the what I regard as the most consumer. Now, I've been begging them to get out of the consumer for actually literally for 20 years because they have a high end and then they have the low end, and the low end gives them the 10 multiple and the high end gives them the 20 multiple. And I've been talking to Sanjay, whom I really like, and it's like, I'm like, Sanjay, you have to like do this. And he's like, Jim, I don't need to do that. And so today he does it, the stock's down 12. So I text him, I said, come on, and he goes, I'm in quiet. And I'm like, and I wrote, I'm not in quiet, I think you're fabulous. But that's because I remember the 95 breakdown, where what happened is that ultimate piece of capital goods equipment came out that could make a little more than we needed of the memory chips, and then it goes like that. And his stock had been number one, and then 500, number one.
Do you remember some of this stuff better than the CEOs and the management teams?
Yeah, always.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if it's the 90s, absolutely. If it's the 90s, like for Intel, when I speak with them.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm an idiot savant.
And there's new leadership.
But I would tell you, like, I forgot my anniversary of my wife's my wife's birthday, but I remember the September collapse in '95.
Sure.
But that's because it's all wrong. I have a mememory for some things, and they're the wrong things, except for when we're here.
Yeah.
What are they doing out there? You think there's your sound? It must be a twist. The light. You guys should go light the tree at 6.
Oh, we'd love to. We'd love to. The show will be wrapped up by then.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're out there,
one thing later with Benioff, you gotta ask him about token consumption, because he came out with
3.5 trillion.
It was
3.2 trillion.
Yeah,
3.2 trillion.
Was it 3 or 1? I
No, it was
don't remember the
3.2, I
exact
think.
number, but it sounds like a big number.
But it's
there were some
not.
other companies. There was AlphaSense.
Yes.
Somebody at AlphaSense was
AlphaSense.
sharing. They were sharing that they use around half the tokens. Obviously, not
It's a
quite the
much
same
smaller
scale.
company,
Much
maybe
smaller
Well,
company.
Jensen wouldn't give you that rap. I mean, I remember when he did a me. When I walked in, there was me, and he said, "Look, this was you don't know how many tokens were used."
Yeah.
And all it really came down to, there was this show at that point, Mayor of Easttown, but there's a new one called Task, and all that Jensen wanted to talk about was when he was doing me, how hard that Philadelphia lilt was at the end. And Kate Winslet said the same thing. This man is Da Vinci. He knows acting, he knows plays, he knows. He's a well-rounded guy, but all he does now is like.
Got good taste in jackets.
But how about all the stuff he has to talk about?
How have you been processing all everybody competing to say the biggest number, right? There's
God!
some reporting.
I have a piece tonight that starts, and I mention you guys right at the top because I'm like,
we thank you.
Well, no,
awesome.
because like I say that this is what you guys do, and I don't want to do it because I can't. I can't do it like you. You don't want to aspire to be someone who's not as good as you.
Yeah.
Hey, I came in today. I'm not as good as Jordy. What a day!
Yeah.
Your wife doesn't want to hear that when you come in. John was like, I was so embarrassed. John happened to be but when you're in these situations, you don't want to be in. Well, next week, OpenAI's got a new ChatGPT that's better than Gemini. After you just said, "Holy yes, Gemini's the best," you don't want to be in that world. And yet, you guys know that world is fluid.
Yep.
And I don't want to be in a world where suddenly, I'm going to give you an example. Broadcom is the general contractor for a lot of these chips.
Yep.
But what's the general contractor? Does that work? Does that mean that they really had a lot of say? I don't know. You guys would literally know what it means to be what Broadcom is in the chain.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, am saying, hey, Broadcom should go up big because of this.
Yeah.
But, one is like, hey, you know what? I think that one's no line and one is a line.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? I think the Patriots have a better chance than Cleveland.
Yeah.
Well, no kidding. That's why there's a line. You guys set the line, okay? Yeah. I'm money line on everything.
Well, yeah, we know our lane too. I mean, being from the West Coast and coming from a private markets background, we focus on market cap. Right. You focus on stock price, how the stock is moving day to day. We, I think, are much more. We're much more focused on the product side.
What is the most underrated sound on your soundboard?
Okay.
What do we got that's underrated?
Oh, mine right now. I think I happen to think there's a sound right at the at the bottom right, which was from Office Depot.
Okay.
That was easy. That was easy. But that was when the show started. Now people just say like, "What was that?" I don't remember that.
I remember
there was the story. You got paper there.
The button. There was the big red button.
But I think it's so cool. But like people are saying like, "What is that? Was that a chain or something?" And so it's become a relic, but it's a good noise.
Yeah. It's hard to keep the lore going. I mean, we are.
No,
listen to this sound. Listen to this sound. You know what this sound is? That's Call of Duty.
Night vision goggles going on.
Because we grew up on Call of Duty.
I still don't understand why he does that one so much.
I grew up on Pong.
Okay.
Right? I mean, Pong was great.
I
thought Pong was incredible until Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Like, Donkey Kong was incredible. These things were incredible because they replaced crossword puzzles and tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Twitch. Who owns Twitch?
Amazon.
Of
course. We got to get Andy Jassy on Twitch.
You know what
I wanted to do earnings. I wanted to do post-earnings on Twitch live.
You know what?
Mark Zuckerberg's on Instagram doing front-facing videos. Get Andy Jassy on Twitch. Andy Jassy.
Zuckerberg, he's got no salary cap.
No salary cap.
It's unbelievable, that guy, right? Everyone else had this kind of sort of salary cap.
Yeah. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, you thought Howie Roseman was good. No, he sucks compared to Zuckerberg because he's got the salary cap.
Something interesting on the Amazon front. The Trainium, when they were talking about
not so good.
No, when they're talking about their new chip, they
joke.
specifically mentioned doing a training run for a company called Descartes. Dean, the founder, has been on our show.
Which I only know because of you guys.
They do real-time video, and they're working with a lot of Twitch streamers. So that training run felt meaningful, and I don't think a lot of people picked up on that.
But there could be something moving.
I mean, that's a good example of what I would describe as why I never lose sight that I'm a generalist. Because I wouldn't know that in the same way that I wouldn't necessarily know if we were doing steel companies. Whether something's cold rolled or hot rolled. Cold rolled has got a high multiple, and hot rolled is low. The steel is steel.
No idea,
and so you always have to be really careful knowing that you don't know certain things. Like I wouldn't, if there are certain specs put out on the ASIC Google, I have to be very careful because when I listen to what Andy Jassy will call me, and he'll school me. And he'll be right to school me because I don't know enough.
Who's the next Mark Benioff in the sense of a CEO that you could see yourself just enjoying interviewing?
Okay, I'm going to give you a crazy
repeatedly.
one. I'm going to give you a crazy one because it's going to be, I have to make it so it's enjoying. I haven't gotten there yet. It's Levchin. Max Levchin.
There we go.
I intend to get him where I need him.
You got to talk him about espresso.
He wants to talk about coffee? He's obsessed with coffee.
Yeah, we spent like 10 minutes talking about.
We'll send you the clip.
You're kidding me.
This is the alpha.
I didn't know that.
Get him on the show talking about coffee. And he also likes long distance biking and riding.
Oh my God!
But he's
not carp. He doesn't want to kill it.
The tough thing. You got a 3-minute segment. It's hard to spend. It's hard to spend 3 minutes.
Then
talking about
you give him
coffee.
more time because I didn't know he had that side. I know he cares passionately about Ukraine. I know that he cares passionately, more importantly, about making people who should get credit in a country where you still have to care about democracy. He's the like everyone says, well, I'm democratizing blue jeans. I'm democratizing T-shirts. No, he's democratizing capital, and why not? His algo is better. I just think that's the guy I intend to be able to get him out of his. It's not a shell. I don't know what it is. What the hell is he in?
I think my sense was like the conversation for us. We had 30 minutes, right? You don't have the luxury of having that much time with some of these guests, but some people take a while to warm up, and that's why traditional
sometimes.
That's why traditional podcasts are so great.
You can do a bunch of pre-calls, get to know someone, then hop on, and even if it's a shorter segment, you can do it.
Well, good. That's a goal then. It's a goal, and the reason I want to do it is because I find him completely fascinating. He came on the show when the stock. I told him, "Come on the show when you think it's going to break out, will you?" Who's going down? It was at 33. He came on the show, and I said, "Well, what do you think here?" And he goes, "Well, the stock is now done going down, and it's going up." No one ever says that stuff. No one. They never comment. There's like the stock. Oh, well, Jim, that's you. That's out there. You don't know. No, he said, "No, the stock's now done going down." And it's like at the end of the interview, I said, "That was a gutsy call." And he goes, "What?" I said, "That it's done going down." He goes, "Why is that gutsy?" There there's my guy.
That's extremely gutsy. Yeah, that's extremely gutsy. I love
That's
it.
man.
I love it. How do you think about market structure, oligopolies, monopolies? Because the real interesting side of Max Levchin and a firm is looking at Sebastian and Klarna, because now there's two companies in the same space. You can comp them. It's a little bit of a horse race.
Yeah.
That feels like good content, feels like good opportunity for investors. How do you think about a market like that?
All right, so I'm out of the closet in this one, so I'm just going to say it here. I always tell people, look, what I'm looking for are companies that in many ways are the worst thing that could ever happen for our country. I'm looking for monopolies. Because monopolies just, they've got
Economic
the gross margin.
power.
I just want big gross margins.
Yep.
I mean, nothing like, did you guys ever read Rockefeller by Chernow?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy had 100%. And
yeah.
what we had 100% of the oil market.
Yeah.
No, that's my guy. And when they broke it up, they created just a huge amount of wealth. But no, I look for monopolists.
Yeah.
And I'm happy with oligopolists. Like right now, Linde, which is an energy company,
Sure.
industrial gas, and Air Products. They're a slap-happy duopoly right now.
Yeah.
And they should be raising prices. They're like not being good duopolists. But that's, it's kind of what
I just always take so much away from the Uber and Lyft saga that I sort of grew up with. I might be overfitting to that.
Postmates.
Yeah.
I like Postmates.
Weren't they acquired in, right?
Yeah, by Uber, right?
I love, Bastian's the man.
Bastian
it's
was the
always
first guy to come on and give me a hat. He
No
goes,
way.
"Where's my hat?" I said, what am I going to do with that? He goes, no, this is called swag. What do I do with swag? Well, you put it on your head. Shocker!
Wait, how are you been processing Google then? Because Google.
Oh my God! Okay, I got out of Google. Get this. There was some guy. I would call him a clown, but this is a serious show from the Justice Department who convinced me that they were going to put Google in the same bed that James Caan was in the show Misery.
Sure.
You know, we're going to hobble him. And he said, listen, we're going to hobble him. I mean, like, make it so he can't walk. Yeah, that's it. And I took him seriously. And I spoke to Google's attorney, who was, of course, much smarter than the Justice Department. But I believe the Justice Department. I thought that they were going to wreck the company. And they kept saying over and over again, and we're not going to let it be like Microsoft. You know, we let Microsoft off. This is not. And I got nervous. And I didn't panic, but when you have the Justice Department over and over saying, listen, why are you saying these things? You don't know what's going to happen to them. And then you get a judge who finds them a monopolist. Like, man, I've got to get out of this thing. This is bad news. And then the judge, like 3 months later, says technology's overtaken it. Not only is it not a monopoly, but we think it's great that they paid Apple $20 billion to knock out everybody else. I was dead. I was flat, and I was roadkill. It didn't matter. Whatever I did was right. And since then, all I do is look at it and say, I'm stupid.
Yeah, but the real thing that hasn't played out yet is like what happens if we do end up with a duopoly in search, right? A lot of people, I mean, ChatGPT has 800 million weekly actives. It's going to have a billion.
Because they don't have the balance sheet. You guys ever read Niall Ferguson, Pity of War?
Yeah.
Well, that is about whoever has the deepest bond market wins.
Sure.
Since your money, I mean, he's got the bond market is better for the other guys.
So this is a question for you because it felt like I felt very comfortable covering the AI horse race, the foundation model race from a technology perspective, from a venture capital perspective. But once the discussion moved to, is there enough private credit? Is Blue Owl going to underwrite at these right levels? We're having John from Apollo on the show. I hope he can explain it to us a little bit more. But how do you think about if a story kind of leaves your orbit? Do you just bring in people on to understand?
Well,
what
I mean,
do you think? You just try to be a generalist
all the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have a general show, and I'm always afraid to bring the balance sheet up for people to say, geez, I want to see what's on The Price is Right. I mean, there's like dial anywhere but that. It's, Friends, there's Friends. Yeah. They look for old Seinfelds versus me talking about the balance sheet.
Sure.
We have to do that.
But for some people out there, that's their Super Bowl, right? They love it, right? So
but I get a kick out of the idea that, that Oracle gets involved and that Larry Ellison, who is one of the toughest guys on earth, who's never made a mistake, and Safra Katz has never made a mistake, are getting involved. And then Safra leaves. And the FT says she leaves because she doesn't want what's happening to the balance sheet, or her precious balance sheet of Oracle, which is not that good to begin with. So that's a good story for me because
Has Larry,
do you know him?
No, he's never been on the show. He follows TBPN.
He does?
He does.
He followed very early. What was your relationship like with Larry? Did he come on?
Larry? No, never.
He doesn't do a lot of...
And like I've tried repeatedly, but I won't get on my knees. I mean,
he doesn't do a lot of media.
I think he might talk about like University of Michigan.
Okay.
Do you think that Mark Cuban, he's been on your show?
Yeah.
Do you think he's the reason why Indiana's such a good football team?
Oh,
we have no idea.
I honestly don't know enough about sports.
People have used the ESPN of tech on us, but it was funny because I've
don't watch enough sports to know.
I've watched like an hour of sports in the last year.
What do you read into the co-CEOs when you see something like that?
Co-CEO?
Yeah, I mean, having an Oracle.
Where's my? Yeah, give me that.
Yeah, here we got a little.
No, co-CEOs.
It's interim, basically.
Yeah, it's just really hard.
Because it's happening in Sequoia Capital now, and that's obviously a big focus of our world.
Benioff was co-CEO with Keith Block. That was just suboptimal situation.
Yeah.
And, we got the co-CEOs now at Oracle. Let's see what happens.
Netflix has done it.
I think it's hard unless you can have really defined duties like they had at Workday. But otherwise, no.
Yeah.
It's not something I really want to see.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that? How are you feeling about the IPO market?
I think it's too robust. We're seeing a lot of junk. We're seeing a lot of biotech, by the way, which is why the biotech instrument companies are doing well. But a lot of these are one-trick ponies, and that's really dangerous. I don't want to protect anybody from investing in anything because everybody has a right to invest in everything. But if you were to do a uranium company right now, a company which just says, and all it does is say, we will find uranium, and you use a really funny symbol like 5 used instead of 4. I mean, look, you price it at 15, it opens at 24, and then you wait 6 months and you sell every share.
Wow.
And that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid is going to happen.
Are the biotech companies taking advantage of the AI narrative, or is there a particularly different narrative?
No, I think there's just been a lot of... Well, I shouldn't say it. There's been
because that's starting to bubble up in tech in Silicon Valley. Folks saying, "Hey, in the future, drug discovery is going to be accelerated. The timeline's going to be way shorter. The economics are going to be completely different."
But the big companies they're just sales companies because when you go to the unbelievably cool, great person who does healthcare and NVIDIA, say that person doesn't. They're not. Bristol Myers isn't. Get me help. It's not those guys.
Yeah.
It's not those guys, and it really bothers me because if you're going to accelerate what's going on with cancer, so that you can look at every single data point and know everything within 5 minutes, you should be able to come up with the holy grail drug, blood test. They're getting a blood test for prostate cancer. So a guy down here saying that today he's going to become public, I hope. But they should be using it, and we should be making far more progress than we're doing in healthcare. It's just when Jensen came on with Synopsys, I mean it's pretty clear they're doing the digital twin. By the way, I thought the digital twin would have been good with Vision Pro, but I guess Relic. I don't know. But I do think that that's the missing link. And I think if anybody does it, it's going to be Lilly and Dave Ricks because he can get outside himself and think about some ideas.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
You do? Has he been on the show?
No, not yet. But
but he hit $1 trillion.
We rang the gong. We rang the gong for him.
For Ricks?
Because he hit $1 trillion valuation.
Yeah, wasn't that great?
It's fantastic.
Walmart's at 900.
Oh,
that guy
close.
Walmart, that guy Doug McMillan, the guy's retiring. I mean, he created the stock when he came in. He gave huge bonuses.
You want to crater it when you leave.
I mean,
you want to crater it when you leave.
Have you been to Walmart lately?
There's an interesting bull case for Walmart is that they are leaning in with ChatGPT while Amazon's leaning out. And so if the agentic commerce thing happens and people are just opening up their phone and saying, "Hey, order," it will probably be routed through Walmart in the short term.
That really?
Yeah.
So Etsy and
eventually
Walmart
Amazon will have to
in.
respond and do a partnership somewhere.
So
but
Etsy and Walmart have leaned in. eBay and Amazon have leaned out.
Wow.
And
eBay had a good quarter. Etsy had a bad quarter. Amazon, we know.
What do you think?
And so it's the laggards in the markets that are trying to catch up by saying, "Hey, maybe we missed the the real power law outcomes of the internet."
Has to do it. I thought it was interesting. Costco's deep into Agent Force. Do you think Mark's going to rename the company Agent Force? That's my first question to him. Look at all the different silos. Go to the page 18 on the deck. And there it is. 17 they did. It's like everything's agent, all the different silos, things he has.
The big question
they're now all called agents.
But the thing is, he's still hiring salespeople like crazy.
Do you think Mark Zuckerberg is going to rename Meta? Did you see the rumor today that
That's,
he's just going to call it
he
Zuck?
ought to rename. He
think
ought
so?
to just rename. That was a
But
dumb rename.
my whole thing is
I think
it's actually I think it's a good name. It actually is
Meta.
the metaverse. People spend so many hours in it. It doesn't matter that it's not in goggles. They're spending it on their phone. They're on their computer. It doesn't matter that it's not in a heads-up display yet.
Yeah.
It is.
That's a good point.
It's a universe with multiple touch points.
It's like they even adapted the app so it is messaging focused.
Yeah.
It's not even like it's hard to post content on Instagram now. That's my
it's
only
a metaphorical universe.
But
It's
you
a
know,
metaverse.
maybe with Vera Rubin, they can do high-speed video, short 10-second clip for an ad on an Insta, and that might work. I mean, right now I would put it in Reddit. I don't know. Have you seen the rates for Reddit? The rate card?
No.
It's like a fraction, and it's very targeted, and it's really good.
Reddit ads.
Reddit ads are the
Yeah.
cheapest bargain for any consumer package because you're right targeted. Like my wife has this mezcal
interesting.
business.
Okay.
Boom, there's like a mezcal lovey.
No way.
It's like
Sure,
mezcal
sure.
love. You know how they say everything's like love it. Melanomi. My daughter's on. Unfortunately, she beat it, but that's like that's targeted.
Sure,
and
sure,
I really
sure.
like that because the rates. I told Huffman he's charging too little.
Well, isn't he making much
we'll
money
see.
from selling data?
Which one?
Isn't he making a lot of money from selling data?
Yes, he is. And then Cloudflare's doing their best to be able to block for you. You did Cloudflare. You did the implications of their failure. See down there, did Matthew don't call me Matt? Did he call you?
He came. Matthew came on once, right? Just once.
Was he good?
Yeah. You know, he's
I
great.
think he's real smart.
Yeah.
Hey, we should talk about like who's like a really good guest and who's bad. And we won't mention the name of the bad. We'll just say the good, you know. Oh yeah, that guy.
Good.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's in a major consumer package.
team that you got to have on. You got to have the semi-analysis team on.
The piece was too long. The one that you told me to read, the 10,000 word.
Yeah,
It was too long. I was like, oh my god, look at that. Look what's on. It's the Jet game. I got to go watch it. No,
Dylan will always call in. He'll be at some data center, usually outside in the back of a pickup truck. He'll call in. And he's absolutely, the whole team there is absolutely fantastic.
They are.
They're very good.
They're really. I trust them implicitly for when you have something on Jensen.
Look at these two. You know, have you met Eric Lyman yet? Going after.
Wow.
We got John.
That's fantastic.
John
Look at
from
that.
Apollo.
Look at
that,
Whoa.
26 ramp.
The
That's isn't that doing a C round? 26 ramp.
They're waiting for Series C.
Well, should I always say
They're going to be here any day.
Oh, and then what should I say if I want to impress people about how far along I am? Should I say I just did myself a what?
Series
what
E.
Series E, probably.
Series E.
I'm serious. I just did a Series E
companies
round.
are going Series G, Series F.
Jeez.
People go really
How
deep.
about down round?
Because people don't. Down round's bad. People don't like going public. It's a hassle. They don't want to deal with the SEC. They don't want to deal with
What do you think about if Stripe stays private forever?
Johnny Callison? No, people don't realize that. He was the great right fielder.
Callison.
He was a great right fielder for the Philadelphia Phillies.
So
he had a home run in the 64 All-Star game to win.
So
what do you think if a great American company stays private forever? Is that going to bring tears?
I mean, we've got
Mars.
Asplund, the orange trucks that cut down all the trees. They've been private forever, and
Mars,
they're really, really
Mars
rich.
is private.
Yeah,
There's
like some grain companies. I don't know. Like I think if you're public, you have to. There's some slings and arrows.
Got to answer to you.
No.
You're more likely to get talked about on that money.
I mean, look,
if the stock's moving.
Well, it's even when you have like a Wells Fargo and the guy comes on and he's got this like all these flowery quotes at the beginning about Lombardi. Lombardi was always saying, "Listen, if there's a mistake, there's me." And then the first thing he says is like, actually, there were these employees that did it bad, and don't pay attention to them. It's like. No, in your annual you say that you're in charge. Let me see that.
How do you get people? How do you get people off your talking point, off their talking point? Because
I
would say like the guests that we don't like, the guests that we don't.
The worst guests are the ones that are trying to get in restricted lines, and just that's the only time that we don't like doing the show.
I had one the other day. It was doing it, and I made a joke. And I stopped, and it was just like, I said, that was a joke. Now, and the person didn't laugh and went right on the talking points. I interviewed Jensen, and he says, he's doing the talking, but he's saying something. And I make a joke, and he doesn't say anything. And I said, by the way, that was a joke. He goes, I was laughing on the inside. Boom! See, that guy can do it all. He can do it all. He's just, what do you do with a guy who's lovable? And you're trying to be tough. You're trying to be tough. You really want to nail him. It's like, and then he's just charming. Charming is the end of, look, talking points and charm those are the Scylla Charybdis that we have to really avoid, right?
Funny story with Jensen. We were in DC, and we were sitting there talking with Shane Copeland from Polymarket, who has a partnership with ICE. And Jensen came in, and Shane goes, "Hey, hey, good to meet you." And he's like, Jensen's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And he's like, "I'm the CEO of Polymarket." And Jensen doesn't know it. And Shane afterwards, he's like, "Oh, I gotta work harder. I gotta work harder."
Well, that's him. He gets up at 4, he does the emails, and now he probably sets it at 3:45 and checks all the things he doesn't know that
Jensen's
are
up
related.
at 4?
Yeah, I'm sure he
Aren't you up at
knows
4
that.
too?
No, 3:45.
Oh, but who's counting?
He gets up at 4.
Who's counting?
He gets up at 4.
He's getting up 15 minutes after you.
I'm supposed to get up after
You
him.
wake up
He's
15
10
minutes
times
before
smarter
him,
than
send him
I
an
am. I got
email.
some
What
edge.
have you gotten done so far?
Wait,
You
Jensen,
texted,
do
what have you
you
gotten done so far?
genetically just need less sleep?
Yeah, what's going on? How is this possible?
Because there's a hand. It's like some 5% of the population can just thrive on 4 hours.
Okay, well
of sleep.
because we're not on air. I'll tell you what the things I take. So I take Klonopin, I take melatonin, and I take a gummy, and I can't stay asleep. See, it has to do with staying asleep. How
There
much
you go.
more do I
I think it has to do with the
take? I
energy,
can't
the
get them.
energy.
These are all like illegal substances to some degree. Now they're actually controlled substances, but that's what I do to be able to stay asleep till 4:45.
So it's more about trying to stay asleep. That's
What it is.
Stay
It's
asleep
like,
as long as you
look
can.
what time it is.
You
I went to
gotta
bed 7 minutes ago. I get this picture.
Do you
of
have your
me and my
Apple
wife.
Watch set up with different
It has
alerts
roving
on
pictures of my wife.
What about
fantastic.
when the markets
There's-
are moving?
Oh, that's great.
It's wedding pictures,
Okay.
Incredible.
making some sauce.
Yeah, that's great.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Oh, it's my wife.
yeah.
Incredible.
She doesn't watch anything that I do.
Tell us
it
about the
drives
book.
me crazy.
Tell us about the book.
What was the process like?
The book was about trying to get it so that people could, let's say, listen to you.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, these guys really seem to like so-and-so. I'll go on chat, I'll go on Gemini 3, I'm going to learn about it, and maybe I own a share. Right now, that's strecken verboten. People feel if you do more than own an index fund, you don't know what you're doing.
Yep.
I come back and say the information's never been easier to find. All these people who believe only in index funds are just dogmatists. And what really you should be able to do is do index fund and do side by side.
Yeah.
Or otherwise, we just think, you know what, all that information that you guys put out doesn't mean anything. And it can't be like that. We can't make people feel stupid. It's not right. If you have an observation that you think that a company that was on your show really knows what it's talking about, why can't you do the research, look at the website, and buy a share? Why is that heresy? So I'm
it's just
trying to make
portfolio
it,
allocation too. Take 10% of your assets
That's it.
and invest in things that you're interested
Do
in.
you know how much resistance I've gotten on this? Well, the alleged tour, because I don't really want to tour, but I did some. People say, Jim, you say that people should own individual stocks, but over and over again, it's been proven that that's stupid. And I said, I worked with private wealth. I've seen people make tens of millions of dollars. So what we end up doing, we have a millionaire's lunch with Jensen. Firefighters, police, people who listen. Now, some of them were because I named my dog NVIDIA.
Did you?
Yeah, well, that worked. That actually was pretty. A lot of people got it. It was $1.90 when it was. I told Jensen. He says, no one knows me. What's going on? So you know what? I'm like doing this stuff, and it's like the great.
Now he's on Rogan. Now he's at the top.
Yeah, I got you back. And I said, listen, I just came back from California, and I got to tell you, I had this dog named Everest. No more. The dog is NVIDIA. And that's when, I keep saying, there was a police officer who came to the show. He goes, look, I bought, I'm a millionaire. I bought NVIDIA. I said, when? He goes, when you named your dog NVIDIA. And I said, well, do you know really kind of what it does? He goes, well, you named your dog after it. You don't name your dog after something if you think it's a fly-by-night thing. Boom, right?
That's an amazing
Can I
story.
stay on forever?
I wish.
We would love you, but they're waving
they're
off.
queuing up.
I think it's your
They're
people.
queuing up. Look at
It's
these
not
guys.
our people.
These people all
I think
want
it's your people.
No.
You're
no.
welcome.
Well, what's it? Is it ugly sweater day too?
I guess so. That's
it's
Saquon
Christmas,
Barkley,
Christmas.
Ram
Yeah.
investor.
Yeah, why can't you get
book
more than
is how to
2.2
make
yards?
money in
2.2
any
yards you're averaging.
markets.
That's what he's averaging.
Let's make this
2.2 yards.
let's make this
Let's make this a
normal
regular
thing.
thing. This was
I would love to.
fantastic.
I would
Thanks so
love,
much. This was
honestly,
so much
you
fun.
guys are what I hope would occur, okay? I kind of always hoped that this would occur, but I didn't know who would do it. this would occur, meaning a sophisticated show, but that didn't take yourselves too seriously, where I could learn. And it hadn't occurred until you.
Thank you.
And it's almost like I always thought, what did people, they have to just make trillions, they can't stop and have some fun and tell us things? But you came. You happened. And the fact that you happened, I'm going to be, the only time I want to be a little immodest. I'd like to think that maybe in some way you happened because like sometime you saw me.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think that you're not 2.0, you're sui generis. But I just feel like that that it occurred and that people, you're another reason why the book's right.
You're on our Mount Rushmore media.
There's 4 of them.
But you're the biggest.
Why, thank you. Good luck to you guys. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're just electric.
There we go.
There you go.
Right? I mean, where is that? All right, go get it. These other guys.
Thank you so much.
Coming in. Alert. Pretenders coming in.
Let me tell you about Linear. Meet the system for modern software development. Linear streamlines work across the entire development cycle, from roadmap to release. Let me also tell you about Profound. Get your brand mentioned in ChatGPT. Reach millions of consumers who use AI to discover new products and brands. Our next guest is Eric Gleiman from RAMP, from the RAMP Business Corporation. What an electric moment. What a fun time.
A goat.
Yeah, he's a goat.
My goat.
He's a goat. He's a fantastic performer. He's been in front of a camera before.
He's an entertainer. He's an entertainer.
If there's ever been
he's doing TV.
Putting in the 10,000 hours gets you good results. It's obvious.
He's doing TV at least 4 times today. He's doing his show 3 times.
It's crazy.
He popped on to our stream.
I mean, 20 years of Mad Money. He must be well past 10,000 hours on camera.
And I think, isn't it 30 years in television?
So Squawk Box has been on for 30 years.
Yeah.
And Mad Money for 20, which is remarkable. Let me tell you about Fall, the generative media platform for developers. Develop and fine-tune models with serverless GPUs and on-demand clusters.
That's right. Darren Rovell. Darren Rovell is sharing. Apparently, somebody is claiming that a Google insider has been trading on search markets. They're saying somebody's been betting millions of dollars or trading millions of dollars on who will be the most searched people of the year, including, just like whether or not Pope Leo will rank in Google's top 5 most searched people. Darren Rovell says, this is what happens, what will continue to happen when unregulated markets are bet on as if they are regulated. Here's the thing, they are regulated by the CFTC.
Yep.
And
insider trading is illegal. I was looking this up because we were talking to Tarek Kalshi about this, and I just wanted to know more. And apparently, let's say that you just are trading corn futures and you just happen to know that there's going to be a major blight in the corn markets, and so you go and trade. If you have insider information that someone missed their harvest or something, you can actually get in trouble for doing insider trading, even in commodities.
Yeah.
And you would think, what private information
and the issue
is
is prediction markets become more accurate when insiders are trading on it. And so it's this weird
And so Brian Armstrong was kind of laying out the bull case for insider trading.
He gave an interesting example of an admiral at sea.
Yes, it was sort of a bad example.
This was a deal book yesterday.
I liked his... I like that he's being philosophical about it. I feel like all of the crypto OGs are very philosophical in their analysis, and I think that can be sort of clipped out of context to be
it's something we need to figure out. It's something we need to figure out. It's happening.
And he's also been in that, I think what people forget about Brian is that, he was in the legal gray area for a decade, right?
Yeah.
Where he was on stage a lot. He was born in it. Where he was on stage a lot, and when he was on stage, people would ask him, okay, do you think Bitcoin should be a commodity or a stock or something like that? And you have to be theoretically, here's this.
Without further ado,
we have Eric Gleiman from the RAMP Business Corporation.
Look at this.
Good to see you.
Great to see you too.
I can't believe you made a sweater just for a RAMP investor.
It's incredible. What is this?
They're doing a tree lighting outside.
The holidays are here.
What is this?
They're among us.
Should we open this on? Should we open this on air?
The Saquon Barkley X RAMP collab sweater. Is that right?
It's been a strong season, and I have a feeling it's going to get a lot stronger.
I love that. And you got the yellow socks on too.
Of course.
You look fantastic.
Fantastic to see you.
How many of these exist in the world?
Not enough. I think probably
limited merch. Wow, look at
two.
this too. Yellow matches.
Lightweight on fire.
I don't know if we can
reduce
I don't know if we can actually
probably
light
shouldn't
this
start
candle.
a fire in the NYSE,
we won't do it, but we will put this out
enjoy
here.
them
Because
back in the
I mean, they were
studio.
even saying that we might not be able to have a very loud speaker for our soundboard because of rules on the stock exchange. Like there are a whole bunch of rules about what you can and cannot do because like there's serious business happening.
Well, you guys have like a deep partnership.
We do now.
Can we ask Lynn if we can be the first show to enjoy a scented candle?
A scented candle. Yes. But I would definitely ask for permission with this one. I would not be caught dead begging for forgiveness.
Okay.
No chance. No chance.
It's,
How are you doing?
Buy the book here. I'm doing great.
Yes.
I'm doing great, and congratulations again, guys.
We're in New York
Thank
City. Remind me how Ramp wound up in New York City. You're not from New York City.
It's this is the capital of capitals.
So you had to be here.
This is we're exactly. I love that eagle sound.
But Steelman this for me. One of your investors might say that this is mimetic desire to wind up in the capital of capital. Why not be the contrarian and build a fintech company somewhere else?
Look, I remember our last company, we had gone out west. It was YC Demo Day.
Oh, you did?
Yesterday.
You went through YC?
We went through there, and I remember towards the end of Y Combinator, we told the partners that we were going to be moving back to New York, and several of them looked at us like we had a hole in our head. But we did it.
Were you Kareem roommates during YC?
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
And those were tough times.
Yeah.
I remember we lived on Sand Hill Circle.
Sand Hill Circle?
At the time, we don't cook all that well.
Yeah.
We knew about Seamless, and the sad part was there were only 2 restaurants on Seamless. And so, we lost
what are we going to do today?
What are we going to do?
Flip a coin.
It was terrible. We lost a lot of weight that summer. It was times were tough. And then at the very end, we discovered DoorDash, and we realized there were, in fact, ways.
Okay.
But I remember I had kind of liked the West Coast, and Kareem said, you can stay out here, but I'm going. And so, okay, we're going.
Okay.
So, anyway,
that resolved it.
You understand the
New York is, I feel like, celebrates the entrepreneur, the person that's just trying to make something in the world, and it's slightly. San Francisco celebrates the earnest hacker. Right? We talked about this with Paul Graham yesterday, and that's kind of the YC ethos, and it's like probably one of the most important archetypes in the world, right? There's so much of the things and the products in our lives. In our world is due to the earnest hacker, but there's another archetype that I feel like finds their way to New York, which is the earnest builder.
So I think that glosses over a lot of what happened in the Valley over the past 10 years. What I observed from a lot of my peers who had gone through that accelerator, funded companies during that era, was the average person they hired stayed there for about 12 months. It was an incredible mercenary culture. The San Francisco and West Coast of 2015 through 2020 something, we can debate kind of the year, was not this earnest hacker, 2 people in a garage. It had become very, very corporatized.
Commercialized.
And everyone who was out there, I felt the small startups, unless you were the hottest company at all points in time, your engineers were getting picked off by Google, by Facebook, was going to the next hot company.
People were, I feel like, in some ways taking a portfolio approach. They're like, well, if startups are risky, why don't I work at 4 startups over 4 years?
It is crazy that if you just graduate regularly on time from a good college, by the time you're 32 and maybe trying to buy a house, you can have done 3 4-year vests.
Yes.
That's a crazy thing to be I got some options over here vested, a Series A company I joined, then I jumped over to the growth stage company, and I have this portfolio. It's like, that's not the goal here. The goal is to go on a generational run.
So build something that matters. And when we came back to New York, look, I think it was maybe like Bob Ross would say, a happy accident.
Sure.
Like when you started hiring these people, we could punch way above our weight. If you wanted to work at a very fast-growing venture-backed startup, seed, Series A, there was like 3, and so we were able to find extraordinary people. There was. I think this wasn't well understood, but all of the large engineering companies were opening incredibly large offices in New York. Google had done it. AWS, Stripe was opening their offices.
MongoDB.
MongoDB. Then you had these companies that were authentically built here in New York. MongoDB, Datadog, all the direct-to-consumer companies, and you had classically people who were in touch with culture, designers, marketers, people in finance. It was all kind of here. And so what happened was, as I think the West Coast was becoming a very hard place to build a genuine company. Constant talent war. In New York, you had the talent, you had people who were moving to be out here, and then all that was missing was...
people also wanted to live in New York.
People
New York
always
City.
do.
It's like it's the greatest city in the world.
It's still a meme among AI researchers. Like, should I move to New York?
Yeah.
Should I get out of the hustle and bustle almost of
San
Francisco?
Probably not AI researchers, but engineers broadly.
Engineers
it feels like going to Hawaii.
People are like, I'm ready for something different.
Yeah.
Maybe I can go over there. That's fascinating.
I think that this was part of the secret of Ramp. Like, we set out to go and to be that definitive company where if you... it was a goal that in a few years' time, people would say, like, you ask a friend, what is, like, the best fintech company in New York, or people would think you got to go to Ramp. That's where they take engineering seriously, they move fast, they understand their products. And we turn that into reality. I think that there's lots of other great companies in New York here and coming up and accelerating. But it's great. It's great we're here.
Something I'm realizing recently of like TBPN, we've probably added like one person a month in the year or so that we've been in business. And I was thinking like what a incredible luxury that is, because when you're hiring at a relatively slow pace, you have so much time to like really get to know people. There's not like this pressure. How, like, I'd be curious, because I don't think you've ever shared it on the show, your philosophy on hiring when you're trying to deliver Ramp speed, but also find and hire people that are going to be with the company for 5, 6, 7 years and beyond.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who walk around the Ramp office, you guys know this, the company is incredibly young. I think the average age is in the 20s, and a lot of it relates to this idea of finding people who are on a steep slope versus intercept. Obviously, of course, we have people who have had incredible experience and pedigree, but the question is, if you play out 1 or 2 years' time, there's some people with a lot of experience who've said, I've seen this movie before, I've learned all that I'm going to learn, and get a little bit better over the course of the next year. And then you have these people who graduated top of their class. Maybe they're 19, maybe they're 20, maybe they're in their mid-20s, but they want to work, they want to learn, and they're on the steep trajectory. And we find these people who have incredible drive, have incredibly high IQs. We give them more responsibility than you'd expect. And you're patient, you wait a year, and suddenly you're filled with people at your company who are far more talented than maybe you could afford to hire otherwise. And
if they already had the Ramp logo on their resume and you were, another company.
And they're managing teams and they're little, and they've grown incredible equity in the company, which has grown even more since they've been here. And it's just this incredible virtuous cycle. And I think that a lot of people, especially early stage companies, get pushed by their investors to say, oh, you should find someone who's seen this movie before. I want to find someone who's been this VP, whatever. And nothing wrong with that. I think that can be great, but it really underestimates the importance of finding people out of that raw talent and looking at, again, slope over intercept.
John, I interrupted you.
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to hear about, sort of switching gears, but positioning around the product in the age of AI. There's a campaign going on right now. What is it? Teaching money to think?
Yeah.
Right? Thinking money. And it makes sense. It's intelligent finance, but it feels like it's the result of grappling with this question of how do you bring AI to bear in the product in a way that's not commoditized like every other company, but still showing some of the value. AI is this weird thing where it's becoming overhyped and then maybe potentially even controversial in some, is it using all the water? People are grappling with that. And so I wanted to know how you landed on that campaign, how you're actually how you're thinking about walking a prospective customer through the AI piece of the value prop from a catchphrase or a tagline down to okay, you're actually sitting down with the CFO, what promises are you making them? Because you're probably not saying you're never going to touch anything ever again, right? And you have to be somewhat realistic about that. So how are you working?
Get ready to enjoy PTO, buddy.
Look, I love this question, and I think you need to start at the root of where this comes from.
Sure.
When the company first launched, we had this idea of time is money. You should save both.
I love it. I say it every day on the show.
Every day.
As soon as it's becoming my mantra. I say it every day.
Every day. So you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror.
Time is money. Save both. Use corporate cards, bill pay, quote accounting, a whole lot more, all in place.
It is. And by the way, for any CFOs out there or financial professionals who haven't yet adopted Ramp, give your CFO or the controller the wonderful gift of Ramp. Help them save 5%.
Well, you still push so hard on sales. So all the time you're like, oh, this company is interested in Ramp. You're like, introduce them to me.
Yeah.
And you'll jump on the phone like in the next 24 hours.
Well, there's nothing better than actually feeling it yourself, going through the sale, helping someone get through, and it helps you understand the experience and stay sharp. But the question is really good. So
sure.
if you think about the actual brand and the value props that we offer, is fairly timeless. In a sea of, ecosystem of credit card companies trying to get you to spend more, we want you to spend less. And we think this is timeless.
Or the opposite would be like a new video model.
And that also shows because you're a pre-AI company.
That's state of the art for 4 weeks. And it's like, it's just it's like selling a very different product.
It's selling things versus value. And to be very specific about it, like and Jeff Bezos has talked about this in another context, it's sometimes people ask what's going to change over the next 10 years. It's more interesting to ask what will not, right? And in 10 years from now, or 100 years from now, it is very clear that people will always want to get more for less, for fewer dollars, for fewer hours. There's no way that's ever going to change. And if you think about kind of the central promise of Ramp is going to help you spend less, you think about, you could sell thinking or you could sell thinking money. We can help you spend. That might change, but if you have intelligence introduced to some end goal, which is the intelligence is going to help you prevent spend that is out of policy that you don't want to occur. Once it's spent, to actually tag and account for it, and then afterwards help you make sure that the next month, more dollars go to productive uses as being really good and really timeless. And so thinking money might be a way of saying it in the modern era. We're going to apply thinking to drive an outcome, your company, but leaner. But it's the
money
same.
Starts to go, I don't know if I want to spend myself today.
Maybe not. I'm not feeling it.
I might just chill in this treasury account.
It's this timeless idea there, guys.
We need you to ring the gong because there is a milestone, which is that when we started the show, I was laughing about we want to go to war on the paper receipt, on big paper, and I actually found a company that and I was like, are paper receipt companies a thing? Are they still big? Turns out there was one that was worth like $22 billion. I believe when we started working with you, you were below that. Now you've eclipsed it, and I think it's a sign of good things to come, good omens, and the death of the paper receipt.
Death of the paper receipt.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, stopping by. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. And we will catch up with you soon.
What a moment, too, because I think if you guys hadn't bet on us last Q4 of last year, I don't think we'd be sitting here today with the TBPN logo all over the NYSE. So thank you to the whole team.
We feel like the lucky ones. Thank you and congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you, dude.
We will talk to you soon. We will also talk to you about Turbo Puffer. Serverless vector and full text search built from first principles on object storage.
Red Bull alert.
Fast, 10x cheaper, and extremely scalable. I'll also tell you about Privy. Privy makes it easy to build on crypto rails, securely spin up white label wallets, sign transactions, and integrate on-chain infrastructure all through one simple API. Cheers, we got our Red Bulls. We're going. Cheers.
What a fun show.
Oh.
Next up, we have John Zito, co-president of Apollo. Fledgling asset manager with $900,000.
$900,000. $900 million.
900 million.
900 million?
Or is it 900 billion?
It is 900 billion. It is 900 billion. 900 billion. He's going to answer some hard questions. What is private equity? What is private credit? What is asset management? What are alternative assets? I like the traditional assets. It's the alternative ones that scare me.
Let's bring him in. Hey,
we're ready. He's put on a microphone.
He's getting mic'd up.
But in the meantime, we'll tell you about Figma. Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps design and development teams build great products together. And I'll also tell you about Graphite.dev. Code review, for the age of AI. Graphite helps teams on GitHub ship higher quality software faster. John Zito's getting mic'd up. He's coming in. I should also mention that today I am wearing a watch that I purchased on GetBezel.com. You can shop over 26,000 luxury watches, fully authenticated in-house by Bezel's team of experts. On a special day, you need a special watch. And there's no better place to get it than Bezel. We have John Zito. John, good to meet you.
Are you giving Eric a little pep talk there?
What are you saying?
He's got, a couple things there.
You guys are friends, right?
Yeah. Last time I saw him, he was like taking all his money. It's a small poker game. He was taking everyone's money.
Oh, he was.
Oh, I can see that. He's such a nice guy, so he's got to be.
Don't fall for the ramp pitch.
Yeah.
He's counting everyone's money.
He's like, I'm saving I'm going to save you time and your money. I'm going to actually take your money.
And I will be saving it for later.
For myself.
Their team is amazing.
It is.
What they're building is pretty incredible. So.
Tell me about your team. Tell me about what you've learned from him. What you've told him about managing, building a team. Yeah. What does it take to get a job and work for you?
Yeah, I mean, look, those they don't need any of my advice. They'll come and talk to me about building
other
a culture.
Things.
But what they're doing there, they have a bunch of people around them that are just building incredible business. For us, it's pretty simple. Find people with purpose. Mm-hmm. Find people high character. Find people that are, generally good people first.
Sure.
And then all the investment.
How do you like to evaluate people for purpose?
I mean, for us...
How long do you want to spend with someone before you actually
some of our best hires are probably the people that I've known for a really long time. Yeah. I mean, a lot of our hires that we've made in the last, 5-7 years, I knew them for 20.
Yeah.
I've been in credit for 23 years.
Yeah, so quickly, can we zoom out and can you paint a picture for me of like the actual Apollo structure, the empire? What's going on there?
Maybe share some of the same numbers you shared with our mutual friend Patrick at Invest Like the Best, because the velocity that you guys are moving at is pretty
Patrick's a great guy. Senator's a good guy. I know you guys are close to Senator too.
Senator's the best.
So Apollo, one of the largest alternative credit managers in the world, largest alternative asset managers in the world.
Yeah.
What's unique about us is half of our over 900 billions our own capital through retirement service. Through Athene.
Yes.
So we're a market leader in writing guaranteed income. Mm-hmm. So we'll write a guaranteed, you want a 5% guaranteed income.
Somebody wants to retire someday.
Yeah, and you want guaranteed income for the next 10 years at 5%. We'll guarantee you that money, and then we'll invest it, and we keep some marginal spread between guaranteeing you the income. And that's half our money. And then half our money is managing third-party money on behalf of our historically private equity business, which is over $100 billion, and then our credit business, which is north of $800 billion. So, here we go.
I got that warmed up for you.
The guys out there told me I'm the first alternative asset manager leader on your show. I don't know if that's true, but let's.
I think so. We've had plenty of people that have I'm sure raised from Apollo, but this is the first. Maybe let's talk about why private credit, which people talk about as a monolith. Obviously, there's subsections of it, but why it's having such a moment right now in the context of these sort of large-scale infrastructure projects that are happening in AI as well as defense.
Yeah, I mean, look, so because half our balance sheet is super long duration for retirement, and all these new projects need really long-dated capital.
Yeah.
There's only two places you can get capital. You can get money from a bank, or you can get money from investors. And the bank capital, they're amazing at a lot of things. The capital tends to be more short-dated because it's led by deposits.
Yep.
So insurance.
We got to experience that with SVB. Yeah. Little duration mismatch.
Yeah. So if you want a 15-year project, you want someone who's going to understand your project, much more of a bespoke solution, work with the company to have more flexibility in that capital structure or in that capital solution. It's much more logical to be with private capital than it is in public markets. Yep. And a lot of the people in your guys' universe, it's historically they had to go public to get access to money. Yep. And now everybody's staying private way longer. Yeah. Legacy capital was, okay, we need new money, we're going to go public, and that's how we would do it. Yep. Now everybody in the growth world has gotten a lot more sophisticated. Yeah. They're staying private longer. Yep. They're raising capital through the private equity, not traditional, but in the private markets world. Yeah. Yeah. And now they're realizing, wait a second, we can do this in our entire capital structure. Wait, what's this credit thing? Oh, we can access private credit access. Okay, we can do long duration project level finance, and it's more optimal for their equity markets. And so they're just like, okay, so now everybody's accessing this private markets, and because it's growing so quickly, it's in the news a lot because it's growing fast, it must be risky.
Yeah, so talk about, I mean, that prompted the piece from Mark, and it was Bloomberg yesterday.
He put out an op-ed yesterday.
Maybe talk as much as you can.
I mean,
share
look, there's
on that.
lots of, everyone has a weird definition of private credit.
Sure.
And so everyone has a hard time, okay, private credit's risky. You know? And a lot of people think private credit's like the $5 or $10 million loan to like a tire manufacturer in Queens or something.
Sure.
Like that's what they think private credit is.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing $11 billion loans for Intel.
Yeah.
And that's private credit.
Yeah.
Right? So we define it as everything from a mortgage to a commercial real estate loan against a building to an aviation loan against a new aircraft.
Sure.
Like super safe, secured, top of the capital structure, traditionally investment grade.
Yep.
So,
but how do you set up your firm to deal with a $10 billion deal with Intel all the way down to some smaller deal?
We're the only firm that's full open architecture.
Okay.
So we're one investment business. So, David Samber, who runs private equity, the guys who lead our hybrid team, our credit team, all of the people are all in the same investment meeting, talking about, okay, what's the best solution for the company? Okay. It's not really about, let's solve for this small thing for a fund.
Yeah.
Once you start doing that, it's very hard to work with companies.
Yeah.
Like historically the credit business was, hey, we're going to go to a bank, we're going to issue a bond, and then we would buy that bond. And that was kind of the public credit business. And most of those people were typically conservative, and they were trying to get just their income. Because most of us grew up in the opportunistic business and we've evolved into an investment grade business, we think more like builders and partners.
Got it.
And we're just providing capital across the whole capital structure. And when you can show up and say, hey, do you need a loan against the building? You need by the way, you want a retirement program for your employees, and you want a long duration preferred. There's not many people that can show up with huge amounts of checks and just make it. And also, by the way, we're lenders to 5,000 companies. So now all of a sudden you're in our ecosystem, and if you're growing the thing, we can help and be a real partner, not just a capital provider. And that's like the new modern.
5,000 companies. Aren't there only? There's 4,000 public companies. How many? So are you a lender to almost all of the public companies that are at scale?
We have mortgages.
Okay, sure.
Commercial real estate loans.
Sure.
Right.
How are you thinking about the real estate market, mortgages, even buying houses? Like, how do you think about that portfolio there?
We don't buy. We're not in the single-family rent business. We're not in that business.
You like your brand.
Yeah, we're not in that.
It does seem like a hot iron. But I have a friend.
Let the companies.
This isn't a gotcha because I have a friend who lives next to a house that was bought by private equity. He's like, yeah, they actually made it really nice and it's great. And my neighborhood's getting better because of this. And it's like kind of a hot take, but
I mean, look, that part has been obviously affordability is a big thing.
Sure.
So, but we're more on the lending side. So we just provide mortgages.
Sure.
And so we have a big mortgage business, and it's relatively low cost.
And I mean, as you get lower into smaller deals, do you need to bring in more automation? Are you seeing returns to scale on IT spend or AI spend or any of this stuff?
Yeah, so I think that will happen for sure. I think that will happen for sure. In the asset level side, so when you're analyzing large pools of
mortgages
homes or mortgages,
sure.
or in the security, historically that's going to be much more of a data AI driven over time. And our models will get better and better, and hopefully,
and there'll be more data to plug in.
All things associated with big pools and a history. You're going to probably get more optimal pricing.
Sure.
And you can see companies like Morpho. Like if you look at, I don't know if you've seen the token. Like there are DeFi protocols that actually have market-based pricing, and that's going to keep getting better and better and better. And I think the scale players will ultimately win that. And so we use it more there. On the smaller side, where it's more flow-related businesses, we have Apollo, which does a lot of our large lending, but then we have 16 companies which invest on our behalf that do specialty stuff. So our middle market lender, MidCap, will do that, has its own brand, its own employees, its own balance sheet, but we'll own some piece of the equity and some piece of those loans. We bought GE's aviation business. So they do all the smaller or medium or big size aviation loans, but in many cases it's our capital.
I know there's some firms that tend to brand themselves as like, we will do a take private and we specifically want to focus on growth. And then we know some other folks who will just buy stuff that's basically, look, the business has done everything it's going to do, we're winding it down, and so we're just kind of cash flowing it out, and eventually that thing will just put on life support, and it's sort of like built to scale or built to die, and that's the thing. Do you want to play in every market? Do you want to take advantage of every situation and be able to see what the trajectory of a business is and then just accelerate it along that? Or do you find a particular niche works well for you?
Our private equity business historically been value-oriented, not necessarily growth-oriented. That'll help with respect that we didn't buy any companies in 21, 22 that I think are going to be somewhat tougher to exit because of the prices that were paid. And our team's done an amazing job.
Why didn't you buy any companies in 20?
We have a 35-year history of buying at relatively low multiples. So just nothing was available under that framework to buy.
Yeah, that's great.
And so people think of us as being more value-oriented, defensive equity, and then everything around secured lending.
Yeah, and on the private equity side, do you have deal team members, operating partners that go inside the companies? Is there a separation there, or is it all one like kind of pool of human capital?
We have our own private equity team with our own dedicated operations team.
Operations team that goes
in and operate. Yeah, exactly.
How are you,
just a traditional business.
What's your outlook on energy and providing capital for various energy products? Everything from natural gas to traditional, oil, all the way through nuclear.
Yeah. So Europe, we did a $4.5 billion deal for RWE. We did a $6.5 billion deal for EDF.
There we go.
I'll keep doing this. So we've done some of the largest European deals for power, energy, transmission, defense. I think you'll see that continue. In the U.S., same thing. Very large for BP, multi-billion-dollar transactions. It is. If you told me 5 years ago we'd be doing multi-billion-dollar deals for S&P 500, IG globally in Europe and the U.S., I would have said that's not going to happen. Our business, the business of private markets, is across every risk spectrum, and it's really, for some reason, that's not really transmitted into the market. It's just private credit's growing; it must be risky.
Sure.
And
that makes sense.
So I think you're going to the logical answer for long duration power projects, which require lots of construction, or data centers. The logical places for retirement, 401k, long duration, investment grade, annuities. Anyone who wants long-term savings, it's a great place to be. So I think you're going to continue to see private markets being the primary force around financing all that stuff.
How do you guys approach sort of like questions or debates around things on the data center side, such as like GPU depreciation, right? Everybody has different opinion. You can look at part of it is like there's some element of it that's unpredictable. You can also look at the present, right, which is like people that have 5, 6 years.
I see you said 50-year depreciation, right? No, that's mortgages.
You can look at the present and you can try to predict the future, and then depending on who you talk to, you're going to get wildly different answers. Whether you're talking to somebody on over on this coast or somebody on the West Coast. I'm curious, like your guys' general kind of approach to like finding the answers to some of these questions.
I think there's going to be winners and losers. I think for us, we've stayed more short dated. So we did a large for Valor and XAI. We did a multi-billion-dollar GPU financing, but we stay at 5 years. So effectively, we're the senior tranche, and then the equity holders are making the assumption on what GPUs are worth later and longer. That's hard for us as credit providers. It's going to be hard. I think anyone who says they know what the value of GPUs or the release rates are in year 5, 7, or 10, I mean, it's hard to take that with any sort of credible view. It's undoubtedly probably going to be the most violent cycle we've ever had. No one really knows how fat the tails are, both right or left. But adding a lot of leverage to assumption that you don't know if it's going to be a super bull case or a super bear case is kind of scary for us. So we've been a bit quieter on that side.
I do think that folks in Silicon Valley, folks in our audience, are just really struggling to wrap their minds around the role of private credit here, because it's a completely different just mental model to be in, as opposed to just being a venture capital equity investor.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with this cycle, it's so much more asset heavy.
Totally.
All these growth companies, defense companies, Saronic,
Anduril.
Okay, they're going to need manufacturing facilities, the nuclear companies, the power companies, the AI companies. It's all asset heavy.
As opposed to you go back to Google.
The last 20, 30
Google
years,
was
it's
the most
all
beautiful
asset
IPO.
light. It's all asset light.
It's all
and the mental model is always asset light, and the debt is bad. And so, you know, I'm friends with lots of the guys on your show because this is changing.
Sure, totally.
And it's going to be all about who they can partner with and trust.
Tech wasn't like didn't have low leverage because they just didn't like leverage. It was because they didn't need it.
They didn't need it. This cycle, you need it. And it can be financed off balance sheet, and it can be better optimized than actually raising equity. And there's logical place for it. It's just, I think you're going to get
also
there.
the scale is not necessarily just directly tied to the problem. I always go back to, like, you know, the mortgage. There are plenty of people that are making 6 figures and have a 7-figure mortgage. And it's like, so if you talk about a company and you're like, the company is making $1 billion and they have $10 billion of debt or something, it's like, that could math out fine if everything's, you know, flowing through and they're growing and whatnot. But
there's a lot. I mean, listen,
it's a new territory.
There's definitely a big pivot. The last week and a half. Lots of questions about off-balance sheet debt. Should it be on balance sheet? Lots of questions about Oracle and others. Lots of questions about some of the neo clouds. I think that's just gonna push Anthropic and OpenAI public earlier.
Oh, interesting.
I think you'll see them. I think they'll go public way earlier than is anticipated. I'm not sure what consensus is, but I suspect that the more pressure and questions about that will require them to access convert market, equity market, securitize, other markets than just traditionally these kind of off-balance sheet leases.
I mean, the last Anthropic
what's your overall view on
was all over the world? So
it feels like it's going to happen soon.
I think it makes sense.
How are you feeling about the IPO market in the present? Kramer was on talking about frustrations with different biotech companies going out and some of them being potentially lower quality. Where are we in your view?
Well, you brought me to the New York Stock Exchange to talk about private markets, which is the funniest thing ever.
But we spend, I would say, 70% of our time talking about privates.
Oh, they do? Okay, good.
And
we're here, so that's good. Good partnership today.
Well, the funny thing, Kramer kept speaking in share price, and we're like, we only think in market cap.
Market cap. Exactly.
Like Ramp, the $33 billion company?
I mean, look, there's going to be, next year's going to be, I'm usually, the credit guy's usually always the bearish guy. I'm like, I think lower rates, I think tons of M&A, I think you'll see a lot more. Huge technology wave. Who knows what the 4 trillion, 5 trillion, whatever the estimate of capital, it will benefit, but it's going to benefit the consumer. At the end of the day, it's going to benefit the consumer. And
when you say M&A, though, is this PE funds that loaded up in 2021, 2022 finally capitulating, or all strategic?
I don't think anyone thought, you know, you see what's happening. There's some very large M&A transactions. You saw EchoStar this year sold a bunch of assets in exchange for SpaceX stock. And, you know, like
and people were like, wait, this company owns half of, or not half, but like half. Like they've got like 10 billion. But then you look at the debt, and
but even that, it's pretty attractive. I mean, it's a pretty way to actually get access to SpaceX. I mean, it was a pure play tracker. You know, I'm not. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about that kind of stuff. But it's a pretty interesting way to get access to it.
They're making an OpenAI movie. They're making a new social network Facebook movie.
Are they?
Do you think they'll ever make a Caesar's Palace heist movie?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. I hope not.
But I mean, seriously, like, because that book was introduced to me through our friend group, and we were all like, this is awesome. But oftentimes internally at these firms, like, everyone in Silicon Valley is like, yeah, social network, awesome movie. It inspired me to start a tech company. And Mark Zuckerberg is like, not a fan, right?
Of course,
And so I'm wondering internally, how does the firm remember the book?
Listen, that was so long ago in terms of the context of the business. We've become a complete kind of credit passive. And the kind of activity we do day to day, by and large, is far different. I think generally speaking, our investors look at that situation and say, listen, they're going to fight for every dollar and everything. So I think there's a balance between the one thing as you grow is you want to maintain your investment culture.
Yeah.
And so how do you make sure you maintain your investment culture, recruit the best people, and the paradox of growing but also really being a good investor. That's like a very tough balance sometimes. And so, you know, I wake up every day trying to make sure that
who on your team evaluates various AI tools that I'm sure you're getting pitched 100 times a day?
We have a whole team. I mean, we have a team, it's called Lab 42, but Rob Bittencourt really leads the thematic investing. You should have him on. I mean, he spends all his time assessing all the hyperscale, all the entire ecosystem, both debt and equity. Yeah, let's go.
It's a tree lighting.
Tree lighting.
Thanks for having me.
Good tree has been lit. This is why we brought you on.
Okay, there we go.
I think it's you.
Christmas spirit.
That's a lot of fun. It's 4 p.m.
If you're watching, we can't hear anything.
That's fun being here.
They said they've never done an IPO on tree lighting day.
Oh, really?
So somebody's
like
got
the last
to do
10
it.
years or something.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's Hank, who is it? Azaria.
They got Santa here, too.
It's Hank Azaria, isn't it?
No way. Oh, yeah. Looks like.
Last time I saw him, he's in a cover band.
You know, it's funny.
He plays in a cover band. He's a cover band.
He's a cover band.
It's actually pretty good.
Really? Yeah. That's amazing. There are a ton of people here. This is as big as an IPO in terms of folks roaming the floor. There's a lot of folks. There's some mascots over there. They're having fun. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
All right. Good luck with everything, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk soon.
Before we bring in our last guest of the show, let me tell you about Wander.com. Book a Wander with inspiring views, hotel-grade amenities, dream beds, top-tier cleaning, and 24/7 concierge service. And you heard Jim Cramer talk about sleep. We need to get him an 8 Sleep at 8sleep.com.
Actually, that'd be a good Christmas
Exceptional sleep without exception. Fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and wake up energized.
We should actually get him an 8 Sleep for Christmas.
And you're looking behind us. There's some. We're on the cubes. You can see us over there. We're on that cube actually.
We're down to one cube.
We're down to one cube. The tree took over. But if you want to put your brand, your logo on something that looks like a cube, why not get a billboard at adquick.com?
I love it, John.
Out of home advertising made easy and measurable. Plan, buy, and measure out of home with precision.
People are joking around on the timeline.
Yes.
Meta, of course, is planning to cut 30% of their, I guess, the budget of their metaverse efforts.
So this is Reality Labs.
This Reality Labs.
Which has worked on VR and AR, but also metaverse development. And I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that was on display during MetaConnect. Some really promising stuff, some really cool stuff.
People like it.
But also a lot of spend. And so they leaked today. I don't know. They announced it.
And Consensus Media, which definitely
could
joking
be real,
around.
could not be. Who
They say
knows?
Meta will announce plans for name change. New stock ticker within the coming weeks. Zuck viewed as leading candidate for new ticker. Seems like fake news, but it's certainly fun.
I like the Meta name.
Max Hodak,
I think it's gotten
former
good
guest. Says the idea that this is the end of Meta's metaverse dreams is probably wrong. I bet this will actually make them go faster. And I agree.
I'm very excited for the next VR headset. I think the Quest 4. I think James Cameron tried it and really enjoyed it.
Kalish, last post, and then we'll bring in our next guest, says Linktree is $1 billion company.
Yeah, this is crazy.
$1 billion for literally links in a tree?
In a tree. Yeah, Michael Miraflor
says you need to study business models. You have to be investigation maxing, value decoding. You should never think the consumer-facing product is the thing. There's a thing behind the thing that generates revenue.
It is true.
Or is supposed to unlock cash flow at a certain scale. That justifies valuation. There's vision here. Without further ado, let's bring in our next guest.
Hi. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
so much for
Great to have you.
coming down and hanging out.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
day number one. How's it been going
it's a
so
very
far?
special place.
Fantastic. We love this place.
It's fun as a media person to be here because it's become just the center for media.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Yeah.
Did you just see Hank Azaria outside
it was him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, our last guest was IDing him, and I couldn't see from here, but it does appear that he's down there walking around.
There you
it's
go.
a full-on tree lighting.
And with the Build-A-Bear,
I like
apparently.
it. It's
Hank
festive.
Azaria. I don't know much about movies. I was like, I have no
He doesn't know who Hank Azaria is.
Do you watch TV?
No, he watches no movies, no TV, really.
Very, very rarely.
He's seen one movie, Borat, and that's it. Pretty much.
And I saw that new movie, Mountain Gate, because I felt like I needed to give a review for the show. It was about some AI founders that go to. I felt like loosely based on the All In podcast.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed to give a review.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, so great to have you.
What's your go-to holiday movie?
Oh my goodness. Can I say The Sound of Music? I don't know if that's technically a holiday movie, but it's the one I watch around that time,
I feel like it's
think.
nostalgic in an old way.
Yeah.
That, like, it's appropriate. If you threw it on, it doesn't scream Christmas, but people would be accepting of it. As a thing.
My controversial opinion is I don't like It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, that one is a little bit old.
What about Elf? Elf?
Elf?
Yeah. I'll go for Elf.
You're like, is that a movie?
Yeah.
Someone told me that's a movie.
What's your favorite color?
Okay. So anyway, please introduce yourself for the stream for those who might not know you. What's your day-to-day like?
So I'm Katie Dayton.
Yes.
I write for the Wall Street Journal all about anything to do with brands, marketing, advertising, some media thrown in, and it's just basically any ways brands are really trying to cut through, I think. That is the underlying theme of my coverage.
And what has been the big theme in your coverage?
It's interesting to coverage because when a brand breaks through, it's almost always for a different reason. Like it's an interesting set of circumstances that allow them to and strategy on their part and some luck that gets thrown in. And it's so, again, there's not like a playbook. If you're following a playbook, it's probably been done, and it could work if you're in another category. We saw this in D2C, right? People were like, oh, if you make a pretty website and you run a lot of ads, you can sell a lot of a product, and then a few other people did it well, and then it basically stopped working. Like it can still work in certain circumstances.
The Red Antler trade didn't last too long.
The Red Antler era was like, you need $500,000 for a brand, and you need a product.
And it worked for Hims. Hims is a public company and is doing fine.
But Hims worked with Emmett.
Oh, that's right. Was it Roe that worked with
Jen Lane.
I think Roe worked with Red Antler.
Anyways.
I bought my first Warby Parker glasses.
You did?
Last week, and I thought, God, I'm a bit late to this one as well. But that was that era.
That one's been around for a while.
I mean, I think that's what's so interesting right now is that there is no playbook anymore. Even if you're a humongous brand, you know, you're sort of, when you're managing any kind of decline, there's no playbook for that, and there's no playbook for a young D2C brand because, you know.
We heard about an apparel brand that has scaled from 0 to 700 million of revenue in like 2 years. All on TikTok Shop, and we'd never heard of it. I don't know if they're public, so I don't know if the numbers are public. So I won't share the name. I'll share it with you after. But
remarkable.
Anyways,
what has been the big trend of the year in terms of your coverage? What's been the biggest story or the biggest theme?
What's your word of the year?
My word of the year, crisis. I think.
Wow. Why crisis?
We have seen, I think, every brand right now. If you look at American Eagle, if you look at Cracker Barrel, just happening in the last, in this sort of a space of a few months of each other. Two very similar case studies. Two very different accusations being leveled at them.
Getting sucked into politics. And then the crisis comes out.
And the snowballing of it all. And I think now it's sort of making brands realize that nobody is safe. You know, you change your logo before this year. I'm sure nobody really thought.
Especially like Cracker Barrel is not. I mean, it's a beloved brand, but it's not like in everyone's face constantly. It's not the Pepsi logo, which also went through a rebrand of the logo years ago, and people didn't like it, and I think they tweaked it and whatnot. But Cracker Barrel, it shouldn't be such a massive story, but of course the internet can amplify everything, and you can just throw everyone in crisis.
What are you looking at for 2026?
I think, it'll be a lot more of that. And I think it's going to be a lot more of brands kind of shifting their budgets, maybe a little bit away from, your traditional advertising into maybe some more PR. I think it's really important for brands at the moment to be owning their narrative. I think they're obsessed with that. They want to be, this is the whole reason they're all moving to Substack. And, they're running their own YouTube channels, their own podcasts. They want to be ahead of the game. They want to be the ones that are talking about themselves before anyone else talks about them. So I think we're going to see like a big shift in like what comms looks like in general, which will be quite interesting to see. And then the AI piece of it all kind of fits in with that, because I think the big question is going to be, do consumers care if a brand is using AI? And if they do, like, how badly is that going to actually affect any revenues?
Well, it's going to be interesting because it's going to happen at the ad level too, because the social platforms know the political leaning of the users, and it's very possible that a brand will be like, here's the product, you can figure out how to make the best ad for the end user, and then you'd have one brand with one product that's running political leaning ads this way.
That would be fast.
I do wonder. There's been some brands over the last kind of coming out of the kind of original Trump era that were just like right-wing brands or right-wing neobank. We saw some of these. I wonder if we'll see
Black
more.
Rifle Coffee was kind of a proto example of this. My Pillow.
I wonder if we'll see more consumer brands just like basically put the political party in the footer and just be like even more.
A trend that I was thinking was like more brands investing in like becoming the supplier and then just having two like faces, two brands on top. Because I think it's a long term in the long arc of history. Maybe the value accrues to the company that's making pillows for both the left wing and the right wing.
I mean, I'm sure that's probably already happening.
It naturally happens in the supply chain, right?
Yeah.
Because no one's digging through the supply chain to figure out where their coffee beans came from.
I'm surprised we haven't actually seen more sort of out-and-out right-wing brands coming through. I mean, we have, the ones you mentioned. I guess they've been going down that route for a while now. And, given that, 10 years ago, it was a lot of brand purpose. We always used to talk about brand purpose and how it was. And every brand had to be aligned to a big cause of some sort that's kind of tended to swing to the left.
It was like a clothing brand that was all about ocean plastic. And then I think people realized at some point or another they wanted to buy. The majority of consumers just want to buy a great product. And so it kind of flipped back where brands stopped saying 1% of every dollar.
Do you think any big brands will intentionally try and throw their brand into crisis? Because we see this in Silicon Valley all the time. It's rage bait marketing, where a startup will come out with a video that's designed to get canceled. Because no one knows them, and if they're getting canceled, sure, 100,000 people might hate them, but at least if they would say
1,000 might sign up.
If 1,000 sign up, it's better than nothing.
Are you talking about that Black Mirror one that came out a few weeks ago? That was
there's a bot farm.
Very good point.
There was a bot farm one. There was TikTok for sports betting or gambling. There was one that was a coding environment that would let you gamble and watch Subway Surfers. Brain rot.
Kind of like illegal online casinos.
There was the whole Cluely saga, which was an app that allowed you to cheat on everything. And of course, people don't like cheating.
I was thinking of the dead relative. Bring back to life. That one was very on the nose.
Partnered with like a
Disney star.
Yeah, that was crazy.
To the point where I thought this has got to be
intentional.
Or it doesn't exist, and it's just some kind of
because I almost believe that I don't know the actual numbers, but I think American Eagle might still be up on the as a stock, even during all that chaos. Like they netted out okay. And I heard some people debating whether or not Sydney Sweeney would wind up winning on the day. I don't know how much she got paid, and I don't know what the long-term implications
that one's interesting because American Eagle, and we just had it at one of our conferences, Craig, their CMO, their line is very much like, this was truly
not political.
It was not meant to be political. It was not that. And anyone that thought it was in the minority, and it was a lot of bot traffic that was driving that. So, and I think they came out of it, and they think they came out of it because they stood by it, and they didn't try and roll it back and confuse the messaging, and they just sort of didn't pay too much attention to it. They didn't give it too much fuel. It kind of burnt itself out that way. I think we're going to be seeing some more of those tactics, whereas before, if anyone was upset, brands would immediately pull something and do the notes apology.
A friend of ours who's been on the show before, Lulu Maservi, she does comms or helps on comms for a lot of startups. She said yesterday, every media headline about a tech company is basically this founder archetype is building the summary of your company or product. Can it overcome common skepticism? Is that is that evergreen, or is that like, do you think that kind of, do you agree with that? Do you think that kind of format is like having a moment right now? I certainly have been seeing that quite a lot on like the cover stories of different like magazines, like Forbes and Fortune.
I think
and there was a journal piece on Cursor recently that was like similar. It was basically like they grew from 3 to 30 billion in 9 months. Like
I'll let you answer, but I have a.
I think the pendulum swings, right? So originally the press were accused of being too friendly to tech, and then we've swung a little bit maybe, and everyone's accused of being too antagonistic.
No, it was antagonistic. I think it swung back.
Too friendly?
I think no. I just think it's like kind of healthy right now.
Yeah, it is kind of healthy.
Well, that's what I think. What's being tried. They don't want to say this is going to fail. This is terrible. These are terrible people, but they want to tell the human interest story of it. I think that's where the friction
stories
lies.
need conflict, and I know friends who have time and time again been in industry, in tech, in technology, pro tech, and then they say we want to make pro tech stories. And what you realize is that you need an antagonist in a story. And if you don't have an antagonist, you don't have a story. If you don't have strife, if you don't have a low point. And so when I would talk to friends who were running companies, I would say, look, like, I know that you've had failures. I know that you tried to raise money 5 years ago. You're super successful now, but 5 years ago you tried to raise money and the investor pulled out at the last second. And that employee that you wanted to hire said no. And the product that you released crashed and no one bought it. Like, I know that you've been through trials and tribulations. You have two options. One is hide those and try and tell the story of everything went perfectly the whole way, and it will be a boring story that no one listens to. Or you can tell the real story of the highs and lows and the ups and downs, and you'll have a riveting story that actually makes you look more heroic, because who wants to watch Star Wars without any strife, without,
when you
Luke
tell
Skywalker's,
people that, what's their reaction?
The Jedis are just
the good ones. The good ones totally get it. The good ones totally get it. I've been in the situation where I've told this to a founder, and the founders said, like, I get it, and the comms team has been like, no, we're still trying to hide that skeleton in the closet, and I'm like, that skeleton's not that big of a skeleton.
No,
like,
exactly.
You lost one contract, or like one customer failed, but a lot of people are in damage control, and that's their whole business, and so they're saying, don't let anything ever get out. And instead, I think the people that understand stories, understand narrative, understand just entertainment, they get that you have to. People like an underdog. People like a come from behind, an up and down.
And then this goes back to controlling the narrative, right? Like, put it out there, weave it in as part of your talking points. Tell the story.
Yes.
And give the journalist something to work with. That has friction, like you said. Otherwise, they're just going to go off and find it anyway, and some disgruntled employee is going to come to us, and
I think that's the risk of trying to over control with the owned media. Is if your owned media doesn't have any conflict ever, because anytime something bad happens to you, you don't post.
There's a few VC podcasts lately that got into a situation and just stopped
posting. And so, like, imagine if you're American Eagle or Cracker Barrel and you have a Substack that you've built up, or a YouTube channel, and then there's a big dust up, and it's the best content of the year about you. Everyone wants to hear from you. You have an audience and a channel that's ready. They're interested in American Eagle. What more would they want to know than about this? And you're just like, I'm out.
I think the astronomer example again from this year, that's a perfect example. They went ahead straight away and laughed at it.
That was
Masterclass.
Yeah. We had the founder on.
The founder, Pete, right?
Yeah.
Pete DeJoy?
Yeah,
we had him on our show a little bit later.
And it was funny, we were joking because
it was great.
They had, the day before that controversy broke, they had published like a case study with Ramp.
Oh, yeah.
We were joking, who's our presenting sponsor, we were joking, we were like, did Ramp somehow how many stories how many pieces do you publish a year?
A year. I try and do about 4 to 6 a month. I think whatever that averages out.
And what does it take to get in the 4 to 6?
I would say come with some friction, come with a story. And I always say you don't have to be a huge brand. You just got to give us some numbers. The amount of people that say, I've got a great story I want to tell. We did this amazing marketing campaign.
Make it concrete.
Well, we are, and my favorite line to use is, we are the Wall Street Journal. So, you got to give us some dollar signs in there.
I like that.
Or some percentages.
This is a lesson for us. We need to, when we tell someone, well, we are TBPN, we need to know what that means. Maybe we can impress upon people. Don't come with your talking points. It's a conversation. We are TBPN. Like, you
Leave
can't
the
come,
talking points.
You can't come with talking points because this is TBPN. we're still finding
leave your PR outside,
exactly,
knocking on the window like this.
We were talking to Kramer about that. That's the number one thing we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we've passed the peak of wellness? Like it feels like wellness is as a trend has been so impactful now that young people are proudly throwing up their hand. I don't drink alcohol. I never
Isn't
drink.
the Unwell Network doing well? Isn't that
Alex
the antithesis? That's the pendulum swinging back from wellness to unwell.
I think you might be right.
Maybe.
But yeah, we've just been having this debate internally, like how durable is the trend?
Well, it's funny. It's difficult because you guys live in LA. I live here. I feel I go out on a Friday night in the West Village. No one is looking very well. Like the kids are drinking, they're smoking. Smoking's cool again, apparently. I think, but then the rest of the country, I don't know. I think it's probably still the wellness is probably still sort of infiltrating
the stats show that
there.
people aren't drinking very much, especially in the younger demos.
Well, especially in restaurants.
In restaurants,
we had David Chang on the show. He was talking about how a lot of restaurants are struggling just because they had this high margin revenue from alcohol that was getting tacked on to every bill that's evaporated to some degree.
It's very difficult to break out, and I'm sure someone has, whether a time with the economy is like it is it because of you go into a restaurant, are you going to go, well, I can't really afford it, so therefore this is like the one thing I can like take off my bill, or is it because I'm actually stopping drinking? And it's difficult to know that causation, but I think, alcohol, the CMOs I speak to in the alcohol world, they all have a pretty not difficult time, but they know that change is coming, and they're making little alterations, and they never, if you've got an advertising budget, they've never been able to say, hey guys, drink loads, go out, get absolutely plastered, have a great time. So they haven't had to change their marketing too much because of that, but I think in terms of where they're showing up and how they're presenting themselves in the real world, that will be quite interesting.
Lot of other things that I'd love to talk about, but let's do it again soon.
Let's do it again soon. This was fantastic.
So
Thank
good
you
to
so
meet
much.
you.
Yeah, great
Congratulations
in person.
again.
Thank you for coming on.
We'll talk
See
to
you
you
soon.
soon.
Such a special place.
I'm enjoying these ramp. These
good
these
call
ramp
not
matches.
lighting a fire, even a candle.
Yes, you can tell that I'm not a pyromaniac, because a pyromaniac
would be like, oh, it's just one match.
Exactly.
It's just one match.
Oh,
what about one more?
It says burn your receipts, time is money, save both. I like these. These are very fun.
How much time do we have to do timeline? We are going to an event later. We can pull up this post.
Let's do another 10 minutes or something.
From Lulu. I haven't seen these. She says, it's worth signing up for Blueprint just to study the marketing emails. They are fun and easy to read. No corpo slop. Educational, so you're getting useful info rather than just being marketed to. Great at building trust through transparent and proactive communication. Why Brian and Kate write them personally. And you can pull some of these up. I do think that it's possible that Brian Johnson is the best marketer in the world right now.
He's incredible.
He's competing and actually, the team are innovating at a bunch of different levels, just in creating, plenty of people want to critique him or disagree with his philosophy or approach or whatever. But as a business person, you have to appreciate how he is just finds a way to make him the center of a lot of attention. Pretty much every single
organic.
King of organic. And I know that I'm sure they spend a ton on traditional ads too.
For sure.
For Blueprint.
It's going to be a monster of a business. And he has a CEO in the seat right now too, right? Didn't he hire?
Yeah.
Or maybe he was going to hire, but there's going to be some operator.
Somebody was claiming that his whole relationship with Kate was just a marketing stunt. And it's
people have said that about so many celebrities throughout the years. All sorts of
there's definitely precedent for it
about it.
In other news, did you see their Trump?
The K trucks are coming back.
Yeah, so something about basically eliminating Biden
People
era.
are saying that. So the news is that apparently you'll be able to buy a very small truck soon, which is a thing in Japan. Supposedly not has been. Made illegal.
Yeah, so they were Biden-era
reason.
vehicle fuel efficiency rules.
I feel like you haven't been able to buy one of these in a long time, and it never made sense because it should be the most efficient.
Yeah, so the
thing
rule
possible,
called for
right?
a yearly 2% efficiency increase for cars made from 2027 to 2031.
Oh, just took a lot of these off the road.
it's the CAFE, the Corporate Average Fuel Economy Standard.
The quote is so ridiculous here. We're officially terminating Joe Biden's ridiculously burdensome, horrible actually, CAFE standards that impose expensive restrictions and all sorts of problems. Gave all sorts of problems.
I wonder if this will drive people back to Tesla and saying like, I bought this after Elon went crazy, and then Trump went.
and then Trump brought in these. I don't know.
I don't know. I do think it's the real loser here. I would say some people would say the environment, but potentially more direct is that company like Slate Auto that's trying to make a $20,000 truck.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, these manufacturers have been making the $20,000 truck.
Yep.
At scale
for a long time.
And they're super reliable.
But I mean, Americans have just voted with their wallets. They do not want a two-door truck. It's never worked. Like the Land Rover Defender, there's so many examples of two-door SUVs that have just not gotten traction.
Like the Nissan.
The Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet also never took off. But even
with true enthusiasts, of course.
Even the Range Rover Evoque is a two-door SUV, I believe. Not done well.
I'm very interested to see.
How many two-door G-Wagons have you owned?
Do you think there's some that I would love to own?
Yes, but they're not exactly flying off the shelves. They're not being stocked on dealer lots. Because realistically, you're going to be like, I'd love the two-door, but then you think about your family and you're like, I need the four-door. And that's what everyone does. And that's why every Ford F-150, four doors.
Did you see that Adam Friedland?
This is a hilarious bit by Adam
This
Friedland.
is like a really good bit. I'm surprised that this is the first time somebody has done this bit so well. He was asked to, Vulture asked him a question on their year-end culture roundup about a TV show that that Charles here is assuming he hasn't seen. And the question is, was Bertha on the Gilded Age right to marry Gladys off to the Duke? Bertha Russell wasn't exactly wrong for marrying Gladys off to the Duke, at least not by Gilded Age standards, but she was morally compromised. In that world, marriage was a strategic move, a way to cement social status and gain acceptance from old money elites who still looked down on her family's new wealth. To Bertha, securing a Duke as a son-in-law wasn't just about ego. It was survival. A declaration that she'd conquered the very society that tried to exclude her. Incredible bit.
And then they amplified it because they did a video interviewing him, confronting him about it. And so Vulture has just done a great job drawing attention to their Culturati 50, which I would not have been following this year, and now I want to see the other 50. So hats off to them for that project.
In other news, Pomp is announcing a historic decision at BRR.
Yes.
100% of
this is his
digital asset treasury.
It's a digital asset treasury. He came on the show. Bitcoin. He's going to buy Bitcoin and then buy companies that produce more Bitcoin or something.
Yeah. 100% of equity compensation for the CEO, me, and the board of directors will be tied to performance milestones. CEOs and boards shouldn't be making millions of dollars unless retail shareholders are also winning. Now that I am in charge of a public company, I hope to set the standard for what true shareholder alignment looks like. I do believe this was in reaction to an activist investor that accumulated around 7%.
Did he also set his milestone at 10 trillion? He doesn't get a dime unless it's 10 trillion.
I can see that. He's a perma bull.
That would be amazing.
I don't think he's ever flipped bearish this whole year.
No.
Anyways,
I mean, this is good, and the interesting iteration on this is that Elon has set himself up with the equity compensation tied to share price, which went very well the first time, and now he set himself up to do it again with Tesla. And what's interesting here is that with Pomp's BRR ticker, it's not just him; it's also the board of directort. And I think that at Tesla, that's not the case.
Yeah.
And so he's saying, I'm taking it one step further. Now, I'm still interested to see what are the targets. Because if you're like, hey, the stock moves 2%, I get $100 million, people aren't going to be excited about that.
Yeah.
But if you design those equity comp packages appropriately, obviously it's totally a win-win-win. So everyone can be very happy about that.
Yeah, and we'll see how it does once, again, a lot of these digital asset treasury companies have performed horribly recently and unclear.
Marvin was texting me.
Okay, so Marvin Von Hagen is going
He's the founder
hit the timeline. Poke, which is a social AI that lives in your messages. He says, saw a TechCrunch tweet 6 weeks ago that Meta is trying to ban Poke. He said he directly asked for help on Twitter, got a lot of intros, talked to the European Commission. EU officially opened an antitrust investigation today. X is unreal. He really is kind of Meta's worst nightmare today. Directing. He's basically Are you really that surprised that Martin von Hagen is pulling
Marvin?
Sorry, Marvin von Hagen is pulling the strings of the EU. Anyways, pretty interesting.
Well, good luck to him. We'll have to have him on the show and have him unpack it.
Matt Slotnick says, maybe the best quote I've ever heard in an earnings call from Benioff, quote, we did 3.2 trillion tokens. Let Bilbo Baggins know that we've got adoption and usages happening here. That was just a shout out to J.R.R. Token. Oh my God. Token? That is so good. Of course, he's firing shots at Carp.
That is hilarious.
That is one.
And he also made one at Oracle? What is he saying?
Dig out of left to Oracle, Matt says. Make sure everybody realizes we're not building data center. We're preserving our gross margins and cash flows and using the data centers that are being built.
I love it. I love it.
Near says, today I learned I use more tokens than Salesforce does.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get into this with Kramer, but the token thing, this could go so fantastically wrong if it turns into like eyeballs. Like, imagine if there's companies going out and publicly they're talking about like their token multiples. It's like, yeah, like we generate 100 trillion tokens, and so of course we should be $1 billion company. And it's like you're looking at like dollars of market cap per million tokens of generation.
I don't think we're going to get there.
I hope not.
I think there is a precedent through the eyeball.
But era. you could do that, and you could think of that as a proxy. Of course, the correct proxy is revenue, and we should stay in that world. But you never know.
Yep.
You never know.
Buco Capital says, according to Jack Dorsey, Zuckerberg kills goats with a laser gun and eats them.
This is wild.
Let's see here.
It's so funny. He used the term.
The question was, what was your most memorable encounter with Zuck? Well, there was a year when he was only eating what he was killing. He made goat for me for dinner. He killed the goat. In front of you? No, he killed it before. I guess he kills it. He kills it with a laser gun and then a knife. Then they send it to the butcher. A laser gun? I don't know. A stun gun. They stun it and then he knifed it. Then they sent it to the butcher, evidently in Palo Alto, and then the quote drops off.
Imagine you have your buddy over and you're like, hey, look. I run a social network. You ran a rival social network for a long time. I run Facebook. You ran Twitter.
Let's just
hang out. I'm going to show you. No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm going to show you a little bit of my culture, bro culture. You're a hippie. You got hippie culture. I got bro culture.
Guy. You're the Bitcoin guy.
You're the
Costa
Burning
Rican
Man
guy.
I'm the UFC guy. I like to kill goats myself. But you're not supposed to go leak it. What's going on, Jack? Come on.
I was off the record.
I showed you my culture in confidence.
What happens in Palo Alto? What happens at the goat farm stays at the goat farm.
Apparently not. Also hilarious.
By the way,
we
figured out that somebody on the show that's come on multiple times. Has hundreds of goats.
Oh, yes.
And nobody knows about this, and people keep talking about the goat debate, this or that.
The goat debate.
And we were talking with them, and they're saying they need to keep quiet because there's a real
goat collector.
There's a real goat collector.
A real goat herd.
That's right.
A goat herd. What else we got?
This is interesting. Google taps Replit in challenge to Anthropic and Cursor. Somewhat surprising. Yeah. Considering that Google's going really heavy with anti-gravity, but I think like Replit
but Google's invested in Replit for a long time. Like they did a partnership or investment back before Amjad was making like a couple $1 million in revenue.
Is capital G in Replit?
Yes, I'm almost positive that Google has invested in Replit at some point. We should look it up, but we're doing the fake news now. We're done with the news. It's fake news. It's the fake news hour. But congrats to Amjad on doing a deal with Google. I wonder how that will manifest because you are kind of competing with a lot of the folks at AI.studio, and there's a lot of different pieces of the Gemini team that you're kind of dealing with. But at the same time, like Replit is a unique product, and Replit has never been a foundation model company.
Yeah.
And so it does make a lot of sense to. I actually like this a lot in the sense that where has Google been fantastic? Model development.
Yeah.
Where have they been a little bit less speedy on the product rollout side, getting the product in the hands of people? Amjad's great at that. The Replit team's great at that. So you put them together, and maybe it makes a lot of sense. But it's still just early days.
2 final posts.
Yes.
One, we missed this yesterday.
Oh,
but,
we have another gong
Jake,
moment.
Paul, and the team over at Antifund
What do they have?
raised Jeff Wu have raised a new fund, $30 million. I almost said 300 million. I'm sure they'll be there soon. But they say they're predicate industry leaders like OpenAI, Anduril, Ramp, Cognition, and Physical Intelligence.
But look at this
our portfolio.
video, 20-minute video. This is an interesting switch of a launch video. It's shot on the couch.
We were saying this.
Like
We were saying this like a year ago. Like the way that we told some company. I remember the. I think I was saying to.
You don't have to say
Zach,
who.
Yeah, I was saying to Zach. We were talking to Zach Dell.
Sure.
He didn't end up doing this, but I was like, do the 20-minute launch video, right? Like, do a video that.
You have a different idea that you should not leak because it's good.
I won't leak that idea.
But I love that this happened the way it did, and I think that this is a good format.
And they're wearing suits.
And I think there's probably 2 to 3 more of these. That will happen. I mean, this does in some way mirror the Johnny Ive, Sam Altman video of like them getting coffee together, and like there's these interesting things of like they're not launching a podcast together. They're just dropping a one-off conversation that's edited, kind of framing some of the history, explaining it. It's a really clear way to communicate, and of course, because these guys are master communicators, they understand media, and so very excited. And what a portfolio! OpenAI, Anduril, Ramp, Cognition.
There's one
Physical
person that will go unnamed that links all of those companies together.
Fantastic.
You know the person.
Fantastic performance.
You know the person.
Of course I do.
Final post
Jeff Wu,
from Tane.
Yes.
Sorry. He's highlighting a company called Plod.
Plod. This is
I've
so
never
funny.
heard of.
Apparently,
but it sounds like they're absolutely ripping.
It's the
Plod
most
may be the most
successful.
They said wearables were cooked, but Plod records, transcribes, and of course, it's another meeting summarizing product.
But it's a physical product.
Device. 1 million units sold, largely to doctors, lawyers, and salespeople. 250 million of annualized revenue, bootstrapped and now profitable.
Literally, and it's crazy. Like no drama, no launch videos, no crazy hype, no rage bait. Just building in silence. We got to get this guy on the show.
They raised around $5 million, but
sure. But I think the more important thing is just that hardware is hard. And we see a lot of corpses in the consumer electronics world, but there are also major breakout successes. The Oura Ring, for example, like what a remarkable company to just show up doing revenue at their scale, seemingly out of nowhere. Whoop has done really well, and there's
Aura.
something. Yeah, Aura. That's what I was mentioning. And then this new company, this meeting summarizer, fantastic, and. Interesting that we just haven't heard a pitch.
I'm so curious to know what this does so well that your phone can't do in an app.
I mean, I don't know. We'll have to ask them. We'll have to get the founder on. Maybe we'll have to buy one. Test it out. Well,
thank you for tuning in
thank
today,
you for tuning
folks.
in from the New York Stock
We missed you
Exchange.
in the chat.
Yeah.
But we will see you tomorrow.
We'll be back tomorrow.
And thank you again to the NYSE team for hosting us.
As
it
always.
is totally surreal
It is.
to be here. And thank you to everybody that has made this possible by tuning in, enjoying the show, and supporting us however you have. So have a wonderful evening, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good night.